Chapter 35:19. Damn, if you wanted to kill me, you didn't have to help me a few times before? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Right. What's going on with Tangyun? Tangyun, your girlfriend? Tian Chan asked. Aren't you my girlfriend? Lin Yi smiled. Kick you. Tian Chan glared at Lin Yi. Do you think I don't know that those inheritors are all your girlfriends? I didn't say it wasn't. Lin Yi said. I mean, aren't you the same? Don't talk nonsense. Tian Chan snorted. Here, I'm Tian Chan. When I go back, I'm Sky Silkworm Transformation. We can't. Tian Chan suddenly sighed. Actually, there are some things that are meaningless if they are said out loud. It's fine as long as everyone knows it in their hearts. You're not going to Heaven Island? Lin Yi suddenly asked, and Tian Chan was slightly taken aback. Maybe, but so what if I go? It's not like I won't come back. Lin Yi wanted to say that he should go to Heaven Island to be gay, but he didn't say it after thinking about it. Tian Chan obviously had a lot of concerns. She had her identity and life. Even if she went to Heaven Island, it was not like she wouldn't come back. However, how many of those who went to the Heavenly Island came back? It seemed that those who went to Heaven Island were never heard from again, right? However, Lin Yi didn't say anything. Everything could only be left to fate. The two of them left the teleportation portal one after another, but it didn't attract much attention because Patriarch Xianchen was dumbfounded at this moment. He listened to Kong Mingming's narration and almost fainted. Father-in-law, Master, you must hold on. Kong Mingming was about to faint when he saw Patriarch Xianchen. He was shocked. Patriarch Xianchen had been guarding near the teleportation portal, so he naturally didn't know that little 11th's soul jade tablet had shattered. Why, Lin Yi, he and I are irreconcilable. Patriarch Xianchen roared in grief and indignation. Almost all of his disciples had died in the hands of Lin Yi. This hatred was absolutely irreconcilable. Fortunately, Kong Mingming was not dead. He had really gone mad. Fortunately, you're fine. If something had happened to you, I would have really gone all out against Lin Yi. But now, those inheritors are all related to him. Even if I kill him, I can't shed all pretense of cordiality. Patriarch Xianchen was a formidable figure after all. He quickly regained his composure. As the head of the Five Elements sect, he still kept the tradition of the old days. His daughter was just a woman, and it didn't matter if she died. However, Kong Mingming was his last disciple, and he was so mean. This was very much to his liking. He had already prepared for Kong Mingming to inherit his mantle. He wanted Kong Mingming to inherit the position of the head of the Five Elements sect, or to carry forward the Five Elements sect after going to the Heaven Stage Island. The patriarchal thought and the idea of inheriting the mantle, this made Patriarch Xianchen value Kong Mingming, his only personal disciple, even more. Therefore, Kong Mingming was fine. The balance between him and Lin Yi would not be broken, and Lin Yi also saw this clearly, so he spared Kong Mingming's life. I understand. I can't do it now, but, Master, don't worry. Even if I go to the Heaven Stage Island, I will find a way to kill him. Kong Mingming grinned hideously. Well, I know what you're capable of. Patriarch Xianchen nodded. You don't have to worry about anything when Lil 11 goes. After going to the Heaven Stage Island, if possible, find a way to get close to a dock. It would be great if you can get married. As long as you can carry forward the Five Elements sect of my Xianchen branch, it doesn't matter what you do. Father-in-law, aren't you going to the Heaven Stage Island? Even if I go to the Heaven Stage Island, you are my backer. Kong Mingming said, the Heaven Stage Island, you and I may not be together. Moreover, why are we going to the Heaven Stage Island? Isn't it to pursue the way of heaven and cultivate to become a perfected immortal? Our strength is at the full circle of the Heaven Stage, and there is a big gap between us and the way of heaven. The people there may be stronger than us. Patriarch Xianchen seemed to know something. Father-in-law, you seem to know about the Heaven Stage Island all of a sudden? Kong Mingming raised his head and asked curiously. Before, the Xianchen ancestor didn't know much about the Heaven Stage Island, so he didn't say much to Kong Mingming. But from what he said today, it seemed like he knew something new. That's right, I know something, but it's not the right time to tell you yet. Patriarch Xianchen said, when the Heaven Stage Conference is held, I will announce it to everyone. That's good. Kong Mingming nodded and didn't ask any more questions. Right, those who went with you, did they all successfully advance to the full circle? Patriarch Xianchen asked. They all advanced. The pressure of the five evils, qi, there is really nothing to hide. It's too powerful. Kong Mingming nodded. In fact, he admired Zhong Pingliang the most. He could actually advance and break through while resting. But thinking about it, it was normal after his physical strength was exhausted. And then under the pressure of the five malice qi, it was hard not to break through. But Zhang Naipeo is crippled. Although he can cultivate back, I'm afraid it won't be possible for a while. Didn't you say that Wang Xinyan can be replaced? Let's talk to Lin Yi. It should be enough. Patriarch Xianchen said. This is also the reason why I don't want to fall out with Lin Yi. And Wang Xinyan can be replaced. Kong Mingming nodded. Right. Among the inheritors, Tang Yun failed to advance. She's not a full circle yet. Failed. Patriarch Xianchen frowned after hearing this. He was a little unhappy. Only Shuigu's arts are troublesome. The other sects are quite normal. Only they came up with this heartless arts. It's really F***ket up. Yeah, why don't we give her a qi gathering pill and advance? Kong Mingming asked. Recently, he was addicted to making qi gathering pills. Practice makes perfect, so the success rate was very high. No, there's a problem with Shuigu's arts. The qi gathering pill can only be used until the peak of Heaven Stage late phase. It doesn't work anymore. You can only cultivate by yourself. Patriarch Xianchen shook his head. You don't have to worry about it. I'll force them to think of a way as soon as possible. Okay. Kong Mingming nodded. Right. In this trial, are there any other participants who have a good relationship with Lin Yi? Patriarch Xianchen asked. No, it's that Xiao Ran. He seems to be a little hot-blooded, but it has nothing to do with Lin Yi. Kong Mingming said. That's good. I'm afraid that Lin Yi will form a gang. At the Heaven Stage meeting, I will give him the most painful blow, as long as there aren't too many people supporting him. Patriarch Xianchen said with a cold smile. Chapter 35:20. Patriarch Blackearth coughed and strode over. As for Kong Xiaoming, he followed closely behind. I heard that the performance of the trial challengers was very good, and the performance of the inheritors was also very good. However, there was a trial challenger who took the initiative to provoke others and was crippled and criticized. There's also an inheritor who failed to ascend to the great perfection realm and was also criticized. The elder said faintly, Zhang Naipeo, if you can't recover your qi and strength by the time of the Sky class meeting, then the everyday sect will be disqualified from this trial. And Wang Xinyan will replace you. What? Pinliang was shocked. Elder Xianchen, what do you mean? Our an everyday sect, is also one of the initiators of the Sky class island plan. What are you trying to do by kicking us out? I didn't say I was kicking you out, but if you can't recover, then there's nothing I can do. If you recover, then everything will be fine, the elder said. Pinliang took a deep breath. He was very angry, but the elder's words were reasonable. Who told Zhang Naipeo to be crippled? Tang Yun, if you can't break through to Sky class perfection by the time of the Sky class meeting, then Shuiyu's right to participate and enter Sky class island will be disqualified. The elder continued, Tang Yun's position will be replaced by Ice Palace's Bing Tang. Both of them are water elements, although they're not exactly the same. They can still be used. At least, perfection will be stronger than non-perfection. Xue Li's expression did not look too good either. This time, she came with dreams and pursuits. If Xue Yu couldn't participate, then she could only return depressed. However, Tang Yun still had hope. After all, it wasn't the end of the trial before the Sky class meeting. After saying that, the Black Earth Patriarch said slowly, "Apart from the people I mentioned, everyone has obtained the right to participate in the Heaven Grade meeting. But before that, everyone has obtained the right to participate. But before that, I will give everyone a holiday. If there's anything, go deal with it as soon as possible. Then I will make an ancient announcement and summon everyone back for the Sky class meeting. Zhang Naipeo, Tang Yun, this is your last chance. I hope you can grasp it. Don't let me down." "All right, everyone can disperse." Kong Mingming walked over and said to everyone, "However, those who are free can also stay in the 5 Elements Inn and wait for the news of the Heaven Rank meeting." The crowd dispersed. Lin Yi looked in the direction of the inheritor. He was a little worried about Tang Yun. Before, he couldn't remember Tang Yun, but now he remembered. Lin Yi wouldn't turn a blind eye to it. Tang Yun hadn't broken through to full mastery. Lin Yi had to think of a way for her. However, before Lin Yi could walk over, Sydney blocked Lin Yi's path. "Young hero Lin, what are you doing? Please respect yourself and do what you promised me. Don't go back on your words. Tang Yun hasn't broken through to Sky Realm Great Circle yet. She can't acknowledge you yet." "You misunderstood." Lin Yi shook his head and said, "I don't want to acknowledge her or anything. I just want to see if there's anything I can help with. You know that I'm a Sky Realm Great Circle Master, and so are the people around me. In terms of breaking through to full mastery, I have some experience. So we can discuss together and see if we can solve Tang Yun's problem." "I see." Sydney hesitated after hearing Lin Yi's words. To be honest, she was a little tempted. After all, what Lin Yi said was the truth. He and the others were all Sky Realm Great Circle Masters, and they had a lot of experience in breaking through. And Lin Yi had come all the way from a lone practitioner to his current height. It was impossible to say that he didn't have some ability. So Sydney hesitated and said, "I'll go back and think about it. You won't leave the inn for the time being, right?" "I won't leave." Lin Yi nodded. After he went back, he planned to first forge a Sky Realm Divine weapon. Then he would go to the West Star Mountain Cave and open the stone door to see if there was anything good inside. However, the prerequisite was to forge a Sky Realm Divine weapon. And now that Lin Yi had the blood of the 5 Demons Dragon, everything was ready. He only needed to make a move. It didn't matter where he forged it. There was no one else in Lin Yi's house except for Han Jingjing and Wang Xinyan. So Lin Yi planned to stay in the inn for now. Okay, Sydney left and walked towards Tang Yun. Although Tang Yun really wanted to see Lin Yi, she resisted. When she was receiving the inheritance and resisting the pressure, Tang Yun tried very hard to forget about Lin Yi, but she still couldn't break through to the Sky Realm Great Circle. This made Tang Yun feel very regretful. To be honest, Tang Yun felt very guilty today. She was the hope of the Snow Valley and Sydney's hope. If she couldn't successfully break through, then Sydney would have no chance with the Sky Realm Conference and the Sky Realm Island plan. After Sydney left, the other inheritors also walked far away. Lin Yi wanted to talk to them, but this didn't seem to be the place. He should wait until they returned to the inn. Lin Yi, Wang Xinyan, and Han Jingjing returned to the inn together. Not long after, there was a knock on the door. At first, Lin Yi thought it was Sydney. He didn't expect her to think it through so quickly. When he opened the door, it was Zhong Pingliang and Zhang Naipeo. This surprised Lin Yi. Why were the 2 of them here? What do you mean? Are you here for revenge? Linny looked at the two coldly and asked, "That, Master Lin, can you let us in? I have something to discuss with you." Zhong Pingliang sighed. Pinliang said, after a sigh, "To be honest, begging Lin Yi wasn't his style, but there was no other way. This was the only thing he could do. You guys, you have something to discuss with me?" Lin Yi looked at Zhong Pingliang strangely. "I say, Zhong Pingliang, are you okay? Do you think we're still in school? Do we have any friendship to speak of? No matter what, our relationship was harmonious for a while, and I really have something to discuss with you today." Zhong Pingliang sighed. "Say it. What is it?" Linny nodded and let the two into the room. Master Lin, I heard that you're quite good at healing and leveling people up. Could you help Naipeo recover?" Pinliang asked after some hesitation. "That's right, Master Lin. I heard that you're quite good at healing and leveling people up." Chapter 35:21. Helping Zhang Naipeo heal? How could he even think of that? "No, young hero Lin, listen to me," Pinliang said. "According to my understanding, other than the power of the 5 elements and 7 elements, there's also the presence of the 5 malice chi. Zhang Naipeo's mission is to protect the inheritors and help them absorb the extra demonic chi. It's a very dangerous job, and there's a high chance of accidents. And now, the Xianqian elder wants Xinyan to help absorb it and take over Naipeo's position. But do you really want someone with no experience to do this? I know what's going on with Xinyan. It's probably you who's helping her, right?" "Oh." Lin, he was a little tempted by Pinliang's words. Pinliang was right. If it were Xinyan, Lin, he wouldn't be at ease. Those inheritors had gone through the formal training of the sect. They had some experience. But Xinyan was different. She'd been forcefully strengthened by him and had no battle experience at all. It wouldn't be good if something happened to her. But it was impossible for Lin Yi to use the art of dragon mastery on Naipeo. One, Lin Yi didn't dare focus all his attention on strengthening an enemy, and 2, Lin Yi didn't want him to know the secret of his practitioner's arts. And so Lin Yi nodded slowly. "What you say makes sense, but it doesn't make sense at all. What do I get out of it?" This is a fair trade. If you don't agree, then there's nothing I can do," Pinliang said. "This is our chance, and yours as well. All right, I admit that I've been convinced by your suggestion." Linny didn't want Xinyan to take the risk, and so he turned around and reached into his luggage. 50 energy stones appeared in his hand, and Lin Yi put them on the coffee table in the room. Let Naipeo take these energy stones back to train. With the help of the energy stones, with his cultivation speed, it should be easy for him to reach the mystic rank. Once he reaches the mystic rank, he can use the Wasp Absorption Divine art to quickly absorb the energy from the energy stones. Even reaching the Heaven rank Great Circle won't be a problem. Pinliang and Naipeo were dumbfounded by the amount of energy stones Lin Yi had pulled out. This Lin Yi always carried energy stones with him. Why did he bring so many? However, regardless of why Lin Yi had energy stones with him, the main problem had been solved. With these energy stones, it wouldn't be hard for Naipeo to break through to Sky Class full mastery again. Even if these energy stones weren't enough, Naipeo was at Sky Class. Then he would be able to absorb other people's physical strength and true chi at will. When the time came, he would find a disciple of the everyday, an everyday sect to absorb first. At that thought, Pinliang and Naipeo looked at each other, calming down. "Well, I'll take it then." Pinliang hesitated for a moment before taking the energy stone. "Don't be an idiot, playing with that idiot Kong Ming Ming. Didn't you see how little 11 died?" Linny looked at Pinliang. "Don't cause any trouble before Sky Class Island opens, or don't blame me for not warning you." "Don't worry, Master Lin. I know what to do." Pinliang took a deep breath. "I can't thank you enough. Bring the stones back when you're done," Linny reminded. "Oh, okay." Pinliang didn't know what Lin Yi was going to do with the stones, but he still nodded. Pinliang and Naipeo had achieved their goal, so naturally they turned and left. Pin Liang and Nai Peo left after accomplishing their goal. They knew that Lin Yi didn't really like them, and so they didn't plan on staying. After Pin Liang left, Lin Yi frowned. Lin Yi frowned slightly. Helping Pin Liang wasn't just for Xin Yan's sake, but for the sake of the everyday and everyday sect. It was a good thing no matter what. The Xianqian ancestor was covering the sky with one hand, letting Pin Liang, who owed him a favor, participate. If Xianqian was up to no good, when they got to Sky Class Island, Pin Liang could help at the critical moment. Not long after Pin Liang left, someone knocked on Lin Yi's door again. Lin Yi opened the door and saw that it was Sydney. It seemed like she didn't have a good way to help Tang Yun break through, so she came to find Lin Yi. Master Lin, I've thought about it, and what you said makes sense. So I want to invite you to the meeting room to discuss Elder Tang Yun's problem. The inheritors and young Master Tian Chan will also go with you. Let's brainstorm and think of a way to help Elder Tang Yun. Sydney said, Okay. When? Lin Yi asked. Now. Sydney said, Okay, I'll go with you. Lin Yi nodded and left the room with Wang Xinyan and Han Jingjing following Sydney to the inn's meeting room. The meeting room was rented by Sydney from the inn. She said that it was to discuss Tang Yun's problem, so the inn naturally agreed. When Lin Yi and Sydney arrived at the meeting room, they found that the other inheritors and Tian Chan were already there. Tang Yun was also among them, and Lin Yi was the last to arrive. Obviously, Sydney called everyone, but not Lin Yi. She was afraid that they couldn't come up with a solution, so she called Lin Yi. However, Lin Yi didn't point it out. After all, Lin Yi understood Sydney's worries. Tang Yun was the hope of Snow Valley, and she was also afraid that Lin Yi and Tang Yun would rekindle their old feelings. Yao Yao, Shu, Xiaoning, Xiao Xiao, Xin Xin, Xiao Jiu, Yun Yun and Tian Chan. Long time no see. Lin Yi took a deep breath and sat on the main seat in the meeting room. Wang Xinyan and Han Jingjing also greeted everyone with a smile and found a place to sit. Hey, that's my seat. Sydney pointed at the main seat in the meeting room and said to Lin Yi. She was the initiator of the meeting, so naturally she sat on the main seat, but now it was occupied by Lin Yi. And Lin Yi ignored her. It was impossible that Lin Yi didn't have any opinions about Sydney, so he had to ignore her. Everyone's worried about Yun Yun, but Yun Yun hasn't broken through under the pressure of the 5 Demons Dragon's cave. I think she'll either use the Qi amassing pill to break through to the Great Perfection Realm, or she'll break through in battle. If both don't work, I'm afraid we'll have to find the reason from her own mental cultivation method. Could it be that she can't cultivate the heartless formula to the Great Perfection Realm? Do you want to practice an invitation art? Lin Yi asked. Chapter 35:22. Merciless arts can't be broken through with pills? Lin Yi paused. He didn't think that the arts had this restriction, but every sect's arts were different, and his art of dragon mastery had other uses. So Lin Yi wasn't too surprised. He just nodded and said, Then the only way is to break through in battle or to find the problem with the chant. Since your heartless arts can't break through with the pill, it might not be able to break through with normal practice either. In the end, it might be because of your chant. Your arts are the ones that have problems. Sydney raged. Please don't insult the merciless arts that our Master Shui created. Lin Yi was speechless. Your Master Shui had eloped with Zhang Liju. What was this about the merciless arts? It was more like asking for the arts. But Lin Yi didn't say it out loud. Sydney would probably go crazy if he did. Then try to break through in battle. Yun Yun doesn't have much battle experience, and it's just against the pressure. There's a chance of failure. But where's the chance to fight? Sydney said. Why don't you fight with her? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Unless it was a life and death battle, there was only a chance of breaking through in battle. Normal sparring was hard to break through. As they were talking, Xiao Xiao's phone rang. Bing Tang had allowed her to use her satellite phone. They were both Lin Yi's wives, so Bing Tang wouldn't make things difficult for her. Dad, it was Xiao Xiao's father, Tianlong. I'm in a meeting. I'll call you later. Okay? Xiao Xiao thought it was her father asking when she was going back. Before the test, Xiao Xiao had promised her father that she would go home after the test to see her mother. She wanted to see if she could use the body of inheritance to absorb the cold energy in her mother's body and drive it away. But she wasn't done yet, so she had to ask her father to wait. Xiao Xiao, Dad's in trouble. Did you get together with Lin Yi after what happened to Dad? I can't get through to him. Can you give him the phone? Tianlong's voice sounded very weak. Ah. Xiao Xiao was shocked. Dad, what's wrong? What happened? Dad and your sister Song were heavily injured. Hurry and give the phone to Lin Yi. Feng Tianlong said anxiously. All right, all right. Xiao Xiao quickly stood up and passed the phone to Lin Yi. Lin Yi, honey, my dad's in trouble. Take the call. Oh, did something happen to Uncle Feng? Lin Yi was also shocked. He quickly took the phone and said, Uncle Feng, what happened to you? Lin Yi, I can't get through to you? Ling Shan and I were heavily injured, Feng Tianlong said. Phone? My phone is not a satellite phone. There is no signal here. Lin Yi said, seriously injured? So, who did it? Lin Yi was shocked. There were still people who dared to seriously injure someone from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Who did it? Who dared to do it? Did they not know about the news? Didn't they know about his relationship with the Bureau? Moreover, Tianlong and Lingshan were the closest people to Lin Yi. How could they seriously injure them? This was obviously not giving face to Lin Yi. Iron Cloak Sect, Tianlong said. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau was tracking a martial artist who did evil in the mortal world. However, this martial artist seemed to be an outer disciple of the Iron Cloak Sect. He actually ran to the Iron Cloak Sect. Lingshan and I naturally brought people to the Iron Cloak Sect to get him. Initially, he had wanted to negotiate with them and have them release the captives. But who knew that the Iron Cloak Sect would be so unreasonable? A few people came out and surrounded us. Oh, Iron Cloak Sect? Lin Yi frowned. The Iron Cloak Sect rarely participated in activities. Firstly, physical masters rarely pursued the heavenly Tao. Only one person from the Holy Fist Palace came, probably with the attitude of giving it a try. The other physical masters didn't come. Perhaps physical practitioners and chi practitioners were different, but the Iron Cloak Sect, Golden Bell Sect, and Eastern Seasion family should have some relationship. Lin Yi didn't expect the Iron Cloak Sect to be so daring. They actually dared to attack people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Did you say that Feng Xiaoxiao is your daughter? I did. And Lingshan also said that you are her boyfriend. But the Iron Cloak Sect said that they never heard of Feng Xiaoxiao, but they heard of your name. They said that you are their enemy in name. So they wanted to teach us a lesson, Feng Tianlong said helplessly. So 2 Sky class masters came out and seriously injured Lingshan and I. Not only that, they also warned us that we dared to come to the Iron Cloak Sect to get her back. They told us to go home and prepare for our funeral. They will come to us 3 days later and kill our whole family. Kill our whole family? After listening to Feng Tianlong's words, Lin Yi didn't know what to say. Was the Iron Cloak Sect arrogant to a certain extent? Even if they didn't know the news, they couldn't be so arrogant, could they? That's right, Lingshan and I are now crippled, but I'm not worried that you can heal yourself. I'm alone, I'm fine, but I'm afraid that it will affect the secular Song family, Feng Tianlong said. Uncle Feng, wait for us, we will go immediately. We were just worried about not having a chance to fight, and now the chance is here. Since they wanted to kill Lin Yi naturally didn't mind killing them first. Whether it was Lingshan's whole family or Feng Tianlong's, it all included Lin Yi. How could Lin Yi just sit back and do nothing? All right, don't be rash, I'll wait for you. We'll talk when you come back, Feng Tianlong said. After hanging up, Lin Yi handed the phone back to Xiao Xiao. He didn't hide anything, since other than Sydney, everyone here was Lin Yi's closest people. And so, Lin Yi told them about what happened to Tianlong and Lingshan. Oh, annihilation. Shu loves it. Yushu agreed as soon as Lin Yi finished. Tang Yun says, let's go fight the Iron Cloak sect. I haven't annihilated anyone yet. Tang Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Was annihilating an entire family something fun in Yushu's eyes? Yes, Lin Yi, honey, since that Iron Cloak sect wants to annihilate us, then we'll go and annihilate them. The troublemaker duo has reunited. I'm so excited. Xiao Xiao knew that Lin Yi could heal her father and Lingshan, so she wasn't worried about their safety. She was more excited about annihilating a whole family. Chapter 35:23. He thought that he could smoothly prepare to go to Heavenly Island in this period of time, but he didn't expect to encounter such a thing before he left. Let's go take a look first. Lin Yi thought for a moment. He was going to Heavenly Island, and it might be a few months, a year, or two at most. He didn't know how long it would take, but during this time, there were still a lot of his friends and family left in the common world. At that time, if anyone came looking for trouble, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to help. So it was important to establish his authority before he left. Otherwise, if another ancient sect that he didn't have much contact with before came, or if another ancient sect that didn't know him came looking for trouble, it would be hard to say what would happen. We'll leave tomorrow morning. This is a good chance for Yun to fight. Lin Yi said after some thought. Okay, I'll go too, Sydney said after some thought. Up to you, but you have to be a fighter. Otherwise, don't go. Lin Yi smiled. All right. Xue Li hesitated for a moment before agreeing. People from ancient sects didn't care much about human lives. As long as there was a grudge, they could go to the front door. So Sydney went with them. She thought about it. Didn't Xiao Xiao's whole family include Tang Yun? If it was related to Lin Yi, then it would be related to Tang Yun. Then it would be Xu Igu's business. Then Sydney would be defending herself. I'll go with you guys, Tian Chan said after some thought. You're going too? Lin Yi paused. It was reasonable for other people to go because they were Xiao Xiao's sisters. It was normal for them to go looking for trouble with the Iron Cloak sect, but under what name would Tian Chan go? If she went with the identity of the young master of the Sky Elixir sect, it would be too big of a deal. After the Iron Cloak sect was destroyed, it would be a bad name for the Sky Elixir sect. Yes, my mission is to protect these inheritors. If I don't go, Patriarch Xianxin will say that I'm not doing my job well. Tian Chan said matter-of-factly, Lin Yi, do you have time? Come to my room later. I have something to discuss with you. Oh, okay. Lin Yi was a little surprised. He didn't expect that Tian Chan would take the initiative to invite him. However, Lin Yi knew that Tian Chan didn't just have something to discuss with him. Lin Yi didn't think that he had anything to discuss with Tian Chan. They decided on the itinerary for tomorrow. Everyone went back to rest as well, since Xue Li and Tian Chan were there. Meng Yao only looked at Lin Yi, pursed her lips, and left without saying anything. Guan Xian, Little Jiu, and Yuning did the same. Shu took Xiao Xiao's hand and left with the Mississippi. Tang Yun was the last to leave. She left with Sydney, looking at Lin Yi. She wanted to say something but stopped. She knew that Lin Yi must have remembered what happened before, but because Sydney was there, she couldn't say anything to Lin Yi. Finally, when everyone left, only Tian Chan, Wang Xinyan, and Han Jingjing were left in the meeting room. Lin Yi said to Wang Xinyan and Han Jingjing, you two go back first. I'll go to Tian Chan's place. I'll go back in a while. And I want to go find Yao Yao. Wang Xinyan said, I haven't seen her for a long time. I'll go with her. Okay. Lin Yi nodded. Wang Xinyan, Han Jingjing, and Meng Yao were very familiar with each other. In the last few days, they were together almost every day. After they left, only Lin, Yi, and Tian Chan were left in the meeting room. Why are you looking for me? Lin, Yi smiled at Tian Chan. I want to kick you. Can I? Tian Chan rolled her eyes at Lin Yi. Let me kick you. Where? Lin Yi asked. What do you think? Tian Chan smiled faintly. I'll let you die without descendants. Who asked you to be so popular with women? Sweat. Lin Yi was speechless. I can heal myself. I can't be bothered with you. Tian Chan walked out of the meeting room and said to Lin Yi, Follow me. Lin Yi quickly followed and came to Tian Chan's room in the inn. It was a very luxurious suite, much better than Lin Yi's suite. It seemed that Tian Chan's treatment was really different. Your room is really good. You want to move here? Tian Chan asked. Sleep with you? Lin Yi asked. It's not like we haven't slept together before, Tian Chan said. How would I not know what you're thinking? You're so dirty. How is it dirty? It's your thoughts that are dirty, isn't it? Lin Yi was speechless after being mocked by Tian Chan a few times. I heard that you can make a lot of chi-gathering pills, Tian Chan asked. Yes, Lin Yi nodded. Then, I'll make some for my brother. When he reaches Heaven Class Full Circle, I can go to Heaven Class Island in peace. Even if I don't come back, it's fine, Tian Chan said. Huh? What do you mean? Lin Yi was slightly surprised. Although Tian Chan didn't make a clear statement, her attitude said something. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Tian Chan shook her head. I haven't thought about it yet. You know that I used to be a sky silkworm transformation. I'm very strong. I'm afraid that I won't be able to control myself and kill them. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. We're both Heaven Class Full Circle. It's not that easy to kill them. Do you think you're me? Maybe I'll reach Heaven's path first? Tian Chan said. All right. Lin Yi shrugged. Let's not talk about that for now. You came looking for me just for this? Yes, Tian Chan nodded. Then I'll go back first. Lin Yi was in a hurry to go back and make Heaven Class weapons. He had all the materials, so he could start working. Also, Tian Chan stopped Lin Yi. What? Lin Yi looked at Tian Chan. Hug me. I haven't hugged for a long time, Tian Chan said suddenly. Ah. Okay. Since Tian Chan said so, Lin Yi naturally wouldn't be polite. Perhaps Tian Chan had gone to the Five Fiends mountain range again and was touched by the scenery. That was why she had so many thoughts and made such a decision. Lin Yi hugged Tian Chan lightly. He didn't take advantage of her, just like he did in Wushang Mountain. In fact, the current situation was already taking advantage of Tian Chan. After a while, Tian Chan pushed Lin Yi away. Okay, you can go back. I'm fine. Let me be alone. Okay, Lin Yi nodded. Don't tell others about our relationship. Do you understand? Tian Chan glared at Lin Yi. Otherwise, I'll kick you. Chapter 35-24. Lin Yi bid farewell to Tian Chan and returned to his room. On his way back, he ran into Kong Ming Ming. However, Kong Ming Ming took one look at Lin Yi and knew that he was no match for Lin Yi. He lowered his head and walked away without saying anything. Lin Yi didn't bother with him and quickly returned to his room, starting his research on the forging of the divine weapon. Back in his room, Lin Yi entered the inner room and took out the forging technique of heaven-level divine weapons that he had copied from the space in the jade pendant and began to study it. According to the book, to forge a heaven-level divine weapon exclusive to the art of dragon mastery, the following materials were needed: fine steel, dark iron, colored steel, black charcoal stone, pure topaz, blue crystal powder, and blood of the pentadragon. Although there were many materials, much more than the jade pendant and the essence chi necklace. However, apart from the blood of the pentadragon, Lin Yi had already collected the rest of the materials a while ago. During the last few days of refining the chi-gathering pill, Lin Yi also plundered some of the materials from the ancient sects and hidden families. Now, he had more than enough materials for each type of material. Therefore, it was more than enough for Lin Yi to start forging weapons now. However, what made Lin Yi depressed was that he had obtained the blood of the Pentadragon too late. If he had forged a divine weapon earlier, Lin Yi would have been able to use it when he was in the heaven rank. Right now, he was about to advance to the heavenly Dao realm. Above the heavenly Dao realm, would he still be able to use heaven rank divine weapons? Would they be able to unleash such great might after using them? These were all unknown. However, in order to open the stone door of the Xianyuan cave mansion, Lin Yi had to forge. This was also a test for him. Now that he had all the materials, Lin Yi continued to read the later parts of the art of dragon mastery. It turned out that the divine weapon needed to be paired with the art of dragon mastery was a staff. It needed a cylindrical steel and dark steel as a carrier, just like how the essence chi necklace needed a jade pendant as a carrier. Fine steel or dark steel, Lin Yi couldn't help but think of the fine steel dark steel rod, and this was a gift from Zhong Pingliang. This guy always gave him good stuff. Thinking about it, it was good to keep someone like him around. Maybe he'd be useful in the future. Now that he had the materials, Lin Yi began to figure out the refining method, the smithing fire. After the previous two experiments, Lin Yi could already master it very well, so there was no problem. Next, it was time for actual combat. After Lin Yi carefully looked at the forging steps of the heaven-ranked god weapon a few times, he carefully placed a certain proportion of dark mysterious iron, colored steel, charcoal stone, pure topaz, blue crystal powder, and blood of the five evils dragon around the dark iron rod. After that, he officially started to forge his heaven-ranked god weapon. The first step was to condense the smithing fire. The subsequent steps were actually very similar to condensing the space in the jade pendant and the essence chi necklace. With the previous two experiences, the condensation process was very smooth. Lin Yi's hands kept condensing the smithing fire, and from time to time, he also needed to use his hands to change the shape of the supporting materials. Then he fused it with the dark iron rod on the ground, one after another. The whole process was very smooth. After a period of time, he finally reached the most important step of forging this weapon. This step was the most crucial step. It was also the step where Lin Yi had the least materials. Lin Yi basically had the backup of the materials he condensed before, but the last step, that was to inject the blood of the five evils dragon. This step was also completely different from the previous two steps, because the blood of the five evils dragon was the most important material used to change the attribute of a heaven-ranked god weapon. Everyone knew that a heaven-ranked god weapon had an attribute, and only the practitioner of the corresponding attribute could use it to its greatest effect. Back in the market, the wandering practitioner collected materials from the corresponding attribute of a heaven-ranked spirit beast to change the attribute of the heaven-ranked god weapon. Lin Yi was a practitioner of the 5 elements and 7 attributes, and among the spirit beasts, only the 5 evils dragon belonged to the 5 elements. Lin Yi's heaven-ranked god weapon should be corresponding to the 5 elements, so the last step was to use the blood of the 5 evils dragon to determine the attribute of the heaven-ranked god weapon. At this step, Lin Yi was pleasantly surprised. He had only used less than 5 hours. He heard Xin Yan and Han Jingjing enter the door, but they saw that Lin Yi was busy with something, so they didn't disturb him and went to rest. Lin Yi took a deep breath. The next step was to infuse the 5 evils dragon's blood into the rod, and this step was the most difficult. It wasn't as simple as sprinkling the blood on the rod, but he had to let the blood seep evenly into the rod. If there was a slight deviation, it could cause a flaw in the weapon, and if he infused it with pure chi, it could cause the weapon to explode or break. Of course, Lin Yi wasn't in a rush. He followed the steps step by step, careful with every step. It was a good thing that the heavens didn't disappoint those who tried. Finally, the next morning, Lin Yi completed the last and most difficult step. Lin Yi looked at the rod in front of him. It had obviously become darker, and he felt a little strange. This thing was black like a fire stick. It didn't look like anything good, but it was low-key and luxurious. Of course, Lin Yi looked at the rod in his hand. It didn't look too different from before. Other than being a little darker, it didn't look any different. But Lin Yi didn't care. It was a weapon for battle, and it wasn't for showing off. What did it matter if it looked good or not? After resting for a while, Lin Yi began to infuse pure qi into the rod. The rod let out a buzzing sound. And on the surface of the rod, a layer of dazzling pure qi suddenly flashed. At this moment, the black and swarthy iron rod suddenly became high-end and classy. However, Lin Yi only infused pure qi to test it. Lin Yi didn't dare to use it in the inn. Although the inn looked solid, how could it withstand a full blow from a consummate expert with a weapon? It would be smashed into ruins. Chapter 35-25. Lin Yi was the true heir of the Five Elements sect. After doing all this, Lin Yi put away his staff and left the room. Xinyan and Han Jingjing were already awake and washing up, evidently looking forward to the upcoming battle. Lin Yi washed up and brought Xinyan and Han Jingjing downstairs to the inn. Tian Chan was already waiting at the door with Meng Yao, Yushu, Little Nine, Yuning, Guan Xian, Xiao Xiao, Tang Yun, and Sydney. Practitioners usually woke up early, and Lin Yi would have come down earlier if he hadn't been busy forging his Sky-class weapon. But what surprised Lin Yi was that not long after he came down, Pin Liang and Nai Peo came down as well, evidently preparing to leave. "Thank you, young hero Lin." Pin Liang cupped his fist at Lin Yi and got into the car. Kong Mingming's heart skipped a beat when he saw Pin Liang's action. He was also not far away, and he quickly ran towards Pin Liang's car. But Pin Liang's car had already started, and with a bang, it knocked into Kong Mingming, making him sit on the ground, looking very disheveled. If this was any other time, Kong Mingming would have been furious, but now he had to confirm the relationship between Lin Yi and Pin Liang. Why did Pin Liang suddenly become so close to Lin Yi, even greeting him before leaving? Wasn't this something only done to friends who respected each other a lot? "Kong Mingming, what's wrong with you? Do you want to die?" Pin Liang cursed as he stopped the car and rolled down the window. "Ha, Liang bro, wait for me. I have something to talk to you about." Kong Mingming opened the back door and sat in the car. He was also a Heaven Stage Great Perfection expert. Although he was an alchemist, he would naturally be fine if he was hit by a car. "What do you want?" Pin Liang said impatiently. "Ha, isn't Canon crippled now? I can help." At that time, Patriarch Xianchen, my master, was there, so I couldn't say much. But it was my idea to deal with Han Jingjing and Wang Xinyan, and it's my fault that Canon got sucked out by Wang Xinyan. I want to do what I can." Kong Mingming said. "Oh." Pin Liang froze. What did that mean? Why did he suddenly say this to me? But Nai Peo was pretty much healed already, and he was planning on finding a disciple to absorb some strength from an everyday sect. But first, Kong Mingming could do whatever he wanted. "How are you going to help me?" "I can refine qi gathering pills. Don't forget that I'm an alchemist." Kong Mingming said. "Oh, all right, if you can refine qi gathering pills, then I'll accept your offer." Pin Liang's eyes lit up. If he had the pill, then Nai Peo would need to absorb other people's strength. Qi gathering pills might be a bottleneck for other practitioners, but for Nai Peo, it was a bottleneck. That bottleneck would be gone. His wasp absorption arts was at an advanced mastery level, and he could absorb anything. Naturally, there was no longer a limit to breaking through. Nai Peo didn't rely on qi to level up anymore, but absorbed other types of qi instead. The side effects of the pill wouldn't exist anymore. "No problem. Kong Mingming said before turning to Pin Liang. Right, Liang bro, what did you say to Lin Yi just now? Aren't you and him sworn enemies? Oh, Lin Yi gave us some energy stones, and Pao Z's back to Golden Class mid-phase now. He'll probably reach Mystic soon, and then he'll be able to use Wasp absorption arts. So you need to get your Qi gathering pills as soon as possible. Pin Liang was a schemer as well. He said that to get Kong Mingming to do his best to make the pill faster, he could let Nai Peo absorb other people's Qi when he got back to the sect, but how much would he have to absorb? Even if he absorbed 2 or 3 perfected masters, he might not be able to make Nai Peo reach perfection. Plus, how many perfected masters did the everyday sect have? Would Pin Liang give himself up for Nai Peo to absorb? That was impossible. It would be good enough if he could find a couple of Sky Class, but it would still be hard for Nai Peo to break through. But a bunch of Qi gathering pills would be fine. Oh, energy stones. Qi gathering pills are better than that. You know that leveling up with energy stones is too slow. Plus, this Lin Yi is giving you good stuff, and he's trying to please you for no reason. You two aren't the same kind of people. Don't be fooled by his lies. Think about how you lost your kidney. Kong Mingming said. Yes, that's true. I'll wait for your good news then. Pin Liang nodded. Ha! No problem. You have to stand on my side during the Sky Class meeting. This was Kong Mingming's true goal. He was afraid that Pin Liang would stand on Lin Yi's side. Of course, Lin Yi and I are enemies. I owe him a favor, and I won't do anything to him myself, but I can't stand on his side either, Pin Liang said. This was his bottom line. He and Lin Yi were enemies, and he couldn't stand on Lin Yi's side just because of something like this. He'd made it clear to Lin Yi that this was just a deal. Nai Peo would take the 5 malice demonic Qi for Xinyan, and Xinyan wouldn't be in danger then. Lin Yi gave him the energy stones because of this, so Pin Liang didn't feel like he owed Lin Yi too much. At most, he'd take the initiative to go against Lin Yi before Sky Class Island. But if Kong Mingming went against Lin Yi, he wouldn't stand on Lin Yi's side to stop him. This was what Kong Mingming wanted. As long as Pin Liang and Lin Yi weren't on the same side, then there wouldn't be a problem. Lin Yi would be alone at the Sky Class meeting. Wouldn't that be a tragedy? Haha, just thinking about it made him happy. Yesterday, Elder Xianqian had already told Kong Mingming about the plan for the Sky Class meeting. Kong Ming was overjoyed after hearing it. If Lin Yi dared to make trouble, then all the Sky Class Masters would rise up and kill Lin Yi at the same time. Before the Sky Class meeting, Kong Mingming had already started to make connections in secret. What if Lin Yi obstructs the opening of the Sky Class Island? If he wants to obstruct the opening of the Sky Class Island, what will you do? Kong Mingming continued to ask step by step. Then I'll stand on your side, Pin Liang said after some thought. Chapter 35-26. All right. Pin Liang nodded. Lin Yi was his enemy in the first place, and he was the one who hindered the development of Sky Class Island. Lin Yi didn't feel any pressure killing him. All right, I'll leave first. See you then. After Kong Mingming dealt with Zhong Pingliang, he still had to deal with the others. Other than the inheritors, there were many masters who had advanced to perfection in this trial. These were the people Kong Mingming needed to win over. Seeing Kong Mingming get out of Zhong Pingliang's car, Lin Yi's eyes flashed with indifference. It was unrealistic to expect Zhong Pingliang to change his side just by giving him some energy stones. After all, the two were in a state of complete hostility. Lin Yi wasn't so naive to think that Zhong Pingliang would extend this favor infinitely. They'd agreed on a deal back then, and it was a deal. If Lin Yi could help Nai Peo recover, naturally he could kill him after opening the island. It was all up to them now. Xiao Ran also left. He obviously had some things to do. Before leaving, Xiao Ran cupped his fist at Lin Yi and said, Young hero Lin, thank you for your help before. I have to go back too. Take care. All right. Linny nodded and said, You are alone. Take care of yourself. Don't let Zhong Pingliang and Kong Mingming find trouble with you. I won't. My hometown is Songning City. It's not in the same direction as them. Xiao Ran shook his head. Linny nodded and didn't say anything else as he watched Xiao Ran leave. Song Lingrui and Thor Ryu didn't say anything to Lin Yi when they left. Instead, they were separately pestered by Kong Mingming and didn't know what to say. Lin Yi didn't dare to use Heaven Realm Perfection's divine sense to investigate because everyone was a master of the same level. If he really did that, others would definitely notice. However, it was definitely not something good. It was just that Lin Yi didn't really care. Kong Mingming would feel uncomfortable if he didn't do anything for a day. From the beginning to the end, he was a restless person. Although he created trouble for himself, he returned in failure every time. No one knew where he got his courage and endurance from. If it was someone else, they would have collapsed long ago. All the familiar people left one after another, including those from the inheritors' sections. They all went back to deal with the affairs of their sections. It was worth mentioning that Rock Candy and Sydney planned to go to Ironcloth Sect together with Lin Yi. There was no need to mention the Rock Candy. Now that she was Lin Yi's little mistress, she naturally had to follow him. As Shueli had promised before, she was going to tag along. After the preparations were done, Lin Yi and the other inheritors set off. A group of more than a dozen Heaven Stage Great Perfection experts went to a sect to demand an explanation. This could be said to be unprecedented. Of course, it was hard to say whether it would never happen in the future. At least it had never happened before. Ironcloth Sect was located near Qingfeng Plateau. Ordinary people would have altitude sickness if they went there. However, Lin Yi and his group were different. Everyone was a Heaven Stage Great Perfection expert and had long been immune to ordinary environments. However, the information on Ironcloth Sect was pitifully little. What kind of sect was this? How many cultivators there were? What level the cultivators were at? Lin Yi had almost no idea. Even Tian Chan, the young master of the ancient sect's leader sect, Heavenly Elixir Sect, they knew very little about it. Previously, Lin Yi thought that Ironcloth Sect was an external sect. Of course, this was also based on his sect's name. Judging from the Golden Bell Sect, Ironcloth Sect should be an external sect. However, he heard from Tian Chan that Ironcloth Sect seemed to have internal experts. Internal experts? Then why don't they participate in the Heaven Stage trial? Lin Yi was a little puzzled. Actually, some ancient sects and rogue cultivators may not participate in the Heaven Stage trial. Everyone has their own ambitions, and their pursuits are different. Tian Chan said, just like Ironcloth Sect, they have never participated in any kind of trial activities. They have always lived their own lives, so other sects don't know much about them. They mind their own business and mind their own business. It's the same for blood-clothed underworld sect. They are an assassin sect and pursue killing for rewards. They don't particularly care about the heavenly way. If there's a chance, they will break through. If there's no chance, they won't force it. As for going to the Heaven Stage Island, they won't go. Who would return to the secular world after going to the Heaven Stage Island? Their business is still in the secular world, so they have not participated in any trial activities. So that's how it is. Lin Yi nodded after listening. Yes, they were already the top existences in the secular world. There was no need to pursue the illusory heavenly way. Legend had it that the heavenly way was immortal cultivation, and one could step into the ranks of immortals. It was a completely different level from the current martial arts. However, legend was legend after all. No one knew what the Heaven Stage Island was like. No one knew if going there would be a blessing or a curse. Everything looked beautiful, But if one thought about it carefully on the Heaven Stage Island, complete Heaven Stage was probably the lowest existence. If there were so many masters on the island, one would be killed immediately. It would be better not to go. Lin had to go, or else Lin would be too lazy to go. For Pangolin, for Yushaoka, for Boss Bai's 5-element sect to flourish, Lin went with a goal and a mission. Yes, but with our group going to the Ironcloth sect, Tian Chan looked at everyone present and was speechless. This was simply bullying. But thinking about it, didn't the Ironcloth sect bully Feng Tianlong and Lingshan like this? The distance between the 5-element sect and the Ironcloth sect wasn't close. In a day's time, they wouldn't be able to get there by car. In the evening, Lin parked the car in a town and found a hotel to stay in. The hotel wasn't too big, and it wasn't the tourist season, so there weren't any guests. But it was better this way. Lin directly booked the entire hotel, and the boss happily hung a sign saying that it was full because they had been on the road for a day. They still had to wake up early the next morning. So after dinner, everyone went back to their rooms to rest. Although the hotel wasn't too big, it was more than enough for everyone to have a room. Everyone went into their room, including Tang Yun. She planned to take a shower and rest early, but there was a knock on the door. Tang Yun opened the door and saw that it was Sydney. "Sister Shui, why are you here? What's the matter?" Tang Yun felt strange. When they broke up, Sydney was fine, but she came back in a blink of an eye. Chapter 35:27. Oh. Tang Yun was happy to hear that Lin might be looking for her, but she was disappointed to change rooms. She knew that she hadn't broken through to Sky Full Cycle yet, so she had to keep a distance from Lin. Otherwise, the Heartless Art wouldn't be effective. After taking Shueli's keys, Tang Yun went to the room next door. Shueli took a shower and went to bed early in the morning. Lin also had his own room. After taking a shower, Lin couldn't focus on cultivation. To be honest, Lin Yi's strength was already at the top of the heavenly Tao. It didn't matter if he cultivated or not. As a result, he couldn't help but think of Tang Yin when he had nothing else to do. Ever since he returned to West Star Village, he hadn't been close to Tang Yun. Although he had forgotten about Tang Yun at that time, now that he thought about it, Lin couldn't help but feel that he hadn't seen Tang Yun for a long time. If it wasn't for Sydney's presence during the day, Lin would have gone to talk to Tang Yun alone. But with Sydney watching from the side, Lin couldn't do anything. But tonight, everyone slept in separate rooms. Lin hesitated for a moment and tiptoed out of the room. If it was someone else, Lin might have some scruples. But Tang Yun was his first real girlfriend. When they were together, their relationship was already very good. Even if they didn't sleep together, it was close. If it wasn't for the incident in Snow Valley, Lin and Tang Yun would have been living together. So, Lin didn't feel any pressure sneaking into Tang Yun's room at night. Not to mention in a small hotel like this. It was an ordinary door with a key. It was an electronic door. With the skills he'd learned from his master, it was a piece of cake for him to open the door. Lin remembered Tang Yun's room number. So he quietly opened the door, closed it, and sneaked into the room. Tang Yun should have fallen asleep already. Her back was facing Lin Yi's direction. Lin didn't wake her up. Instead, he took off his pajamas and jumped onto the bed. Although Lin didn't plan on doing anything, he saw Tang Yun's exposed shoulder. It was obvious that she had gone to bed without wearing her pajamas after taking a shower. After getting on the bed, Lin directly picked up Tang Yun from behind. However, Lin was startled by the softness of her body. Although Lin hadn't touched it before, he could tell that Tang Yun wasn't that big. Otherwise, she wouldn't have lost so many battles with Yushu because of this. And now Tang Yun's size was so much bigger. Even if it wasn't as big as Yushu's, it was still much bigger than before. This surprised Lin. Could it be that training had the effect of breast enlargement? Sydney was also mentally and physically exhausted these few days. Tang Yun didn't break through to Sky Full Cycle. She didn't feel good either. This was an important matter for the Snow Valley. She had to worry about it every day. So after taking a shower, she laid on the comfortable bed. She fell asleep in a daze. After sleeping for a while, she suddenly felt like someone was on her bed. This surprised Sydney. She was a Sky Full Cycle Master. Unless the other party was also a Sky Full Cycle Master, they wouldn't be able to hide from her eyes. Just as she was about to confirm if someone was really here, she felt her chest being wrapped by a large hand. This shocked Sydney, and she immediately woke up. She shouted from the bed, "Pervert! Give me your life!" Ah, Lin Yi was also shocked. He jumped up from the bed. This wasn't Tang Yun's voice. Wasn't this Sydney's voice? Where was Tang Yun? Wasn't this Tang Yun's room? Click. Sydney turned on the bedside lamp. Just as she was about to make a move, she saw that the person standing in front of her was Lin Yi. Moreover, Lin Yi was naked. This stunned Sydney. She quickly covered her eyes with her hands and said angrily, "Lin Yi, you're shameless." If it was someone else, Sydney would have killed them already. But the person in front of her was Lin Yi. She knew that she wasn't Lin Yi's opponent, so she only glared at Lin Yi and didn't make a move. However, when she covered her eyes, she suddenly realized that she wasn't wearing anything. As a result, when she turned on the light, wasn't she completely exposed? Sydney put down her hands and wanted to cover her body. But the more she thought about it, the more wronged she felt. Although she was almost 30 this year, she still had the temperament of a young girl. After all, she lived in an ancient sect and didn't come into contact with the outside world. The only thing she knew about the outside world was from some books. So she was seen by Lin Yi and even touched. She felt wronged. Why was she so unlucky? Sydney sat on the bed and hugged her legs. She curled into a ball and started crying. This time, it made Linny a little helpless. He didn't know that the person in the room was Sydney. If he knew, he wouldn't be so presumptuous. But now that there was a problem, Lin Yi had no choice. He thought that Sydney would beat him up, and Lin Yi had the attitude of not fighting back. After all, Lin Yi had the art of dragon mastery to heal him. No matter how heavy it was, it wouldn't matter. But now, Sydney didn't hit or scold him. Instead, she cried. Lin Yi really didn't know how to deal with it. He could only bite the bullet and say, "Sydney, I'm sorry. This is a misunderstanding. I thought that the person in the room was Tang Yun." Sydney ignored Lin Yi and continued to cry. Lin Yi sighed helplessly. He sat on the side and looked at Sydney quietly. Lin Yi didn't know how old Sydney was. Why did she look like a child? Just from her appearance, Sydney should be in her early 20s. She should have broken through to heaven stage when she was in her 20s. After that, her appearance stayed forever. So she could be in her 20s, 80s, or even 100. Lin Yi waited for Sydney's crying to quiet down before continuing. "Sydney, don't cry. We are all adults and top masters. You shouldn't care too much about this. Our goal is to go to Heaven Stage Island. Do you know that men and women shouldn't touch each other?" Sydney raised her head and stared at Lin Yi. "Tell me, what should I do?" I'll go back now and pretend that nothing happened. Is that okay?" Lin Yi asked. In fact, if it was a normal modern woman, she would probably agree to what Lin Yi said. After all, they didn't really lose anything. Chapter 35:28. Treat? How can you do that? You have seen it, hugged it, and touched it. You want me to let it go? Sydney glared at Lin Yi while gritting her teeth. How can there be such a good thing in this world? Ugh. Then what do you want? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. You don't want to take responsibility? Sydney glared at Lin Yi fiercely. You want me to take responsibility just like that? Lin Yi pointed at himself in astonishment. You have so many wives. Am I the only one left? Sydney was furious. What do you mean? It's not that I'm not the only one left. Sydney's words really made Lynn E. speechless. What kind of logic was Sydney using? What he meant was that he didn't have any emotional foundation with her. Why did he accept her inexplicably? What was going on? Sydney, calm down. This is unfair to you, Lynn E. quickly explained. It's unfair if you don't take responsibility. Sydney said, a woman is treated like this by a man. Can I still be good with others? If you don't take responsibility, I can only live alone for the rest of my life. Why are you so wicked? Wicked? Lynn E. really didn't know what to say. Sydney's logic. Wait. Lynn E. suddenly thought of Rock Candy. From Rock Candy's point of view, if Lynn E. hugged her, she was considered one of them. And Sydney was also a girl who grew up in an ancient sect. Perhaps their thoughts were also influenced by the ancient times. They cared about these things very much. That's why she said that. As a result, Lynn E. had some headaches. Tang Yun's matter hadn't been solved yet. Now, there was another Sydney. Well, one more then. Lynn E. could only nod. But I still don't understand anything. I still don't know anything. Since we're together, you should at least tell me about yourself. Right? You agreed? That's good. Sydney smiled through her tears. I'll tell you about my story, and you should tell me about yours. From Sydney's point of view, wasn't blind dates like this in the past? Everyone was well matched in terms of social status. Then they talked about each other's situations and got together. That was it. Fine. Lynn, he felt like it was a trap. If it wasn't for the surprise, he wouldn't have to do this. Fortunately, Sydney looked like she was only in her early 20s, and her personality was like a little girl's. Otherwise, being with a woman who was older than her would be extremely stressful. But now, it seemed that Sydney, no matter in terms of psychology or anything else, was not. They were both little girls. There was no difference. And that's right. How did you come in? Why didn't I know anything about it? I purposely locked the door before I went to bed. Sydney looked at Lynn E. suspiciously. Don't tell me you colluded with Tang Yun and she gave you the key? Sydney really didn't understand. Logically speaking, she locked the door. Even if Lynn E. was a heaven stage full cycle master. Even if he didn't have the key, he still had to break the door, right? Even if he was a heaven down master, could he break the door quietly? If there was any movement before, then Sydney wouldn't still be asleep. She would have gotten up immediately to deal with it, and Lynn E. wouldn't have succeeded. Moreover, from Sydney's point of view, no matter how daring Lynn E. was, he wouldn't dare to break the door in a public inn, right? So, Sydney went to sleep without any precaution, after taking a shower. She was too lazy to put on her clothes because she subconsciously thought that even if Lynn E. wanted to come, he would definitely knock on the door. How would she know that something like this would happen? According to normal thinking, it was true, but Sydney neglected that Lynn E. had the ultimate skill of picking locks. From her point of view, it was completely impossible and unnecessary for a heaven stage full cycle master to learn how to pick locks. No, before I became a practitioner, I was a great thief. I'm a godly thief. Lynn E. said, Puff, really? Sydney widened her eyes in disbelief. How old are you this year? How could you be a great thief in the past? When did you start cultivating? I was still a golden stage master a year ago. Do you believe me? Lynn E. smiled bitterly and said, I already said to introduce each other. I don't need to lie to you about this. You leveled up really fast. Sydney looked at Lynn E. and sighed. Hey, I'm almost 30 years old. You won't dislike me, right? You look like you're even younger than Tang Yun. Lynn E. didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Look at you now. I don't look 30 years old no matter how I look. Don't fool me. Hee. Sydney couldn't help but laugh. Then you can pretend I'm 18. 18 is big. You're 16 at most. Lynn E. knew that there was no turning back. Sydney's thinking was very conservative, so he could only comfort her first. However, today's matter was really a blunder. If Lin Yi didn't hide his strength, or made some noise, then Sydney would definitely find out, and it wouldn't be like this. But Lin Yi became like this because he didn't want Tang Yun to find out. Sydney told Lin Yi about her own matters, but Sydney's life was very boring, almost the same as rock candies. She grew up in Snow Valley and didn't come into contact with anything. Because of her practice, no one came to propose to her. Sydney also didn't think that she would be able to be with a man in the future. Huh? That's not right. Aren't you also practicing the Heartless chant? Why do I feel like you're so easily moved? I touched you, and you want me to take responsibility? Lin Yi suddenly asked. I didn't drink the forgetfulness, and I've never liked anyone before. I want you to take responsibility because it's written in the book, Sydney said. I feel like there's something wrong with the Heartless chant that your grandmaster created. If it was really heartless, then she wouldn't be interested in men. But now it's just on the surface, but inside she has feelings, Linny said. Don't you dare slander Grandmaster Snow, Sydney said. It's not slander, but didn't your Grandmaster Snow end up with Zhang Liju? Did her heartless chant lose its effect? Lin Yi was familiar with Sydney, so he could say this. Don't say that. How is that possible? Grandmaster Snow went to pursue the heavenly Tao. How could she be with Zhang Liju? Sydney didn't believe Lin Yi's words. When this is over, I'll take you to a place. Linny thought about it. Only by bringing Sydney to the tomb would she believe that their Grandmaster Snow was really living with Zhang Liju and that they were sharing the same husband. Chapter 35:29. She now saw Lin Yi as the closest person to her. Naturally, some of the thoughts she hadn't dared to voice before were spoken out now. Although it was a little disrespectful to the Snow ancestor, it was indeed what she had been thinking. Rest well, we still have a long journey tomorrow. I'll go back now, Linny said. You're leaving already? Sydney paused. Aren't you going to do something? Do what? Lin Yi asked. The books say that on the wedding night, shouldn't we do something? Sydney said shyly, We'll talk about it when we get back from Sky Class Island. Lin Yi hesitated. In fact, if they were to talk about being together, Lin Yi's ideal partner was Yuning, Chu Mengyao, Yu Shu, or Tang Yun. After all, these were the first people Lin Yi was familiar with, but with Sydney, he didn't have any feelings at all. Although feelings could be cultivated, they hadn't been cultivated yet, right? Plus, if the first time was with someone other than these four, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to accept it. Taking a step back, it should be Yang Chi-Chi or Wang Xinyan. Okay, Sydney let out a sigh of relief. To be honest, she was a little scared. Although the books said that when two people got married, they would sleep together and do that kind of thing, the ancient sects didn't care about those complicated marriage rules. The people of the Jianghu were all simple. Linny put on his clothes and left Sydney's room. He took a deep breath and looked at the room that belonged to Sydney but was now Tang Yun's room. He couldn't help but sigh. He wasn't in the mood to go there anymore. Back in his room, Lin Yi couldn't fall asleep for a long time. He thought about the things that happened in the past year and was filled with emotions all the way until dawn. The next morning, everyone left the hotel after breakfast. Sydney's attitude towards Lin Yi had clearly changed. There wasn't the vigilance and hatred in her eyes anymore. There was a hint of tenderness in her voice, which confused Tang Yun. Could it be that Sydney wasn't against her and Lin Yi? Sister Shui, why do you keep looking at Lin Yi? Tang Yun asked Sydney. Lin Yi was driving a bus from the Heavenly Elixir sect, which was provided by Tian Chan. Everyone could sit in it, and Tang Yun sat with Sydney. Tang Yun noticed that Sydney would inadvertently look up at Lin Yi, who was driving in the front. Sydney didn't think that her little action would be noticed by Tang Yun. She blushed shyly. She wasn't good at lying, and she didn't want to lie to Tang Yun. Yesterday, Lin Yi came to my room to find me. Tang Yun was shocked. She thought that Lin Yi and Sydney had some conflict. She quickly asked, Sister Shui, Then you and Lynn, you guys, we slept together. Sydney was embarrassed as she looked at Tang Yun, who was stunned. Ah, Sister Shui, what did you say? Tang Yun didn't understand. I'm sorry, it's my fault. After the shower, I fell asleep. I didn't wear any clothes. How would I know that Lin Yi used to be a bandit? He opened the door. He thought, I was you. Actually, it's not his fault, Sydney said helplessly. Pfft. Tang Yun finally understood what was going on. This was a huge mess. It was a big mistake. However, Tang Yun didn't blame Sydney or Lin Yi. Yesterday, Lin Yi went to the room. This meant that Lin Yi was thinking about her, Tang Yun, and bumping into Shui Li could only be considered a freak accident. Before, Sydney changed the room to guard against Lin Yi, but she didn't know that Lin Yi didn't follow the rules. He opened the door and went to the bed. This was so it wasn't Sydney's fault. On the other hand, Tang Yun didn't want to look into the relationship between Lin Yi and Sydney. It seemed that Lin Yi already had a lot of women around him. She couldn't stop them even if she wanted to. During this period of time in the ancient sect, the ancient books she read instilled in her the ideas of ancient women. So she didn't have much resistance towards Lin Yi having multiple wives and concubines. Besides, Sydney was a friend she got along well with. Although Sydney was guarded against Lin Yi before, it was for the sake of Shuegu. But now that Sydney and Lin Yi had such a relationship, Tang Yun felt that there wouldn't be any obstacles between her and Lin Yi. You, why don't you scold me? Actually, it's not like I'm being forced into this. I just think that Lin Yi is actually quite a nice person. There's something indescribably attractive about him. Forget it. In Shuegu, you and I are like sisters. This is nothing. You and I are no longer women in the secular world. My thinking has changed a lot. As long as we get along, it's fine. Tang Yin shook her head. Previously, when they were in the secular world, she was competitive and wanted to be Lin Yi's first wife. But now that she thought about it, it was just a title. Perhaps it was because heartless arts changed Tang Yun's personality. Sydney didn't think that Tang Yun would let this matter go so easily. It surprised her, but looking at Tang Yun's sincere expression, it didn't seem fake. Sydney finally let out a sigh of relief. From her point of view, the biggest obstacle to being with Lin Yi was Tang Yun. If Tang Yun didn't have any problems, then there wouldn't be any problems. Sydney didn't care about other people's thoughts. Because there was nothing on her mind, Sydney became more cheerful. She chatted with Tang Yun along the way. Tang Yun then realized that Sydney was quite a talkative person. Oh, Yao sis, I told you that Sydney in Shuegu isn't a good person. She's a vixen. She seduced Shield Bro. The older she gets, the more shameless she is. She's an old cow eating young grass. Yushu said to Meng Yao. All right, Shu Yun didn't say anything. You don't have to be stubborn. Meng Yao patted Yushu's little hand and said, Besides, Shui Li still looks very young, about the same age as us. Sky class masters don't care about age anymore. The future of training will be extremely long. Some people even forget how old they are. Yushu's eyes lit up. All right, Yao sis, you are the first wife. You should exercise your power as the first wife. Yushu encouraged. Yunyan's sacrifice is bigger than mine. Meng Yao said, Then let's be equal. Yushu didn't want Meng Yao to fall behind others. Tang Yun couldn't either. Although their relationship was good, it wasn't as good as Meng Yao's. Haha, sure. Meng Yao felt that it was a good idea, and it wouldn't hurt their relationship. What if other people compete? Yushu said worriedly. Chapter 3530. HM? Yao, when did you become so good-tempered? Yushu didn't understand. The night is peaceful, and the dark phoenix arts I practice has a calming effect. I finally understand why my mom is so good-tempered. Meng Yao smiled. But why is that old woman Elder Dark Knight so hot-tempered? Yushu said, her arts are related to the Dark Phoenix, but it's not the same. Only people with the Dark Phoenix attribute can practice it. Meng Yao said, oh, okay. Yushu was still hot-tempered. She was a fire practitioner after all. They were all Sky class masters, and unless they didn't purposely eavesdrop, it was easy for others to hear what they were talking about. Sydney didn't know that Yushu had heard what she said, but it wouldn't take long for the others to know. As expected, Yushu went to chat with Xiao Xiao after telling Meng Yao, and Bingtang found out as well. Xinyan and Han Jingjing, who were sitting at the back, found out as well, and so on. When they got out of the car, everyone looked at Xue Li strangely. This made Xue Li a little puzzled. What's wrong with everyone? What are you looking at? Sydney finally got pissed off by Bingtang's stare. She glared at her, displeased. Bingtang, what are you doing? It's nothing, Sydney lil sis. Bingtang giggled. I'm older than you. Why are you calling me lil sis? Sydney blinked. You know what I mean. Bingtang giggled. I know. Xue Li was stunned. She suddenly thought of something. What do you mean? You're the youngest here from now onwards. You need to know the rules. Bingtang let out a breath of relief. The Ice Palace and Snow Valley had always been competitors, and there were wins and losses. But from now onwards, Sydney would always be younger than Bingtang. You all know about it. Xue Li was so surprised that her face turned red all of a sudden, from her face to her neck. If you don't want others to know, don't do it. Rock Candy laughed. Crystal Candy's words made all the girls laugh, especially Xiao Xiao and Yushu. They were rocking back and forth with laughter. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was taken aback. How did they all know? How did the news spread? If I can't say it, Sydney should be too embarrassed to say it, right? This was really, however, everyone was still joking. Suddenly, two black figures appeared in front of the crowd and the bus. One of the black figures glanced at the crowd and shouted arrogantly, "Where did this bunch of idiots come from? Hurry up and get lost. Is this a place where you can come? This is private property. You have 1 minute to leave. If you continue to play here, don't go back." This was the territory of Tai Yi sect. Lin Yi parked the car in front of the mountain gate. He was waiting for someone to come out so that Lin Yi wouldn't have to barge in and search aimlessly. Therefore, the man in black came. Lin Yi didn't stop him. Two patrolling disciples were merely Earth class early phase. Lin Yi didn't put them in his eyes. This is Tai Yi sect. Lin Yi looked at the two indifferently and asked, "That's right. Where are you guys from? Are you also a practitioner?" The black figure was a little surprised. He didn't think that Lin Yi would say the words Tai Yi sect. Lin Yi was obviously someone who knew about Tai Yi sect. Even the villages nearby didn't know the name of Tai Yi sect. They only knew that there was a very powerful sect here. "My name is Lin Yi. Tell the people here to come out and see me." Lin Yi didn't want to waste time with him and said directly, "Lin Yi, never heard of you. Who do you think you are?" The leading black figure said impatiently, "Senior Brother Sue. Isn't this Lin Yi, the very powerful person that those people from the Special Investigation Bureau mentioned before?" The other black figure suddenly thought of something and said to Senior Brother Sue, "Oh, so it's the Special Investigation Bureau looking for revenge. Looks like you guys are itching for a beating again." Senior Brother Sue sneered. But before he could finish, he was sent flying by a slap from Lin Yi. He fell on the ground not far away, twitched twice, and stopped moving. Obviously, he was dead. How powerful was a Heaven-class full-circle master? One move was all it took to kill an Earth-class early-phase master. This person chattered nonstop. Lin Yi didn't want to listen to him and directly killed him. He said to the other black figure, "Tell your supervisor to come out and see me." Yes, yes, yes. The black figure was dumbfounded. He didn't expect Lin Yi to be so much stronger than Lingshan and Tianlong. No matter how strong those two were, They couldn't kill an Earth-class early phase with one slap, but Lin Yi killed senior brother Su so casually. He was so scared that he quickly turned around and ran back to the mountain gate. The girls were all heaven-ranked great perfection realm experts and knew the cruelty of the cultivation world. It was either you die or I live, so they didn't have the slightest bit of sympathy for senior brother Su. This sect was already on the verge of collapse. If the upper beam was crooked, the lower beam would be crooked. The entire sect was filled with a group of arrogant and despotic people. Every time they opened their mouth, they would talk about exterminating the sect. The one on duty today was Elder Tai Yi's second disciple, the second senior brother of these disciples. He got the report from this Black Shadow King and was furious. It was Ling Shan and Tianlong's helper, Lin Yi. Last time, the one who escaped from the Iron Cloak sect was only an outer disciple, but with the Iron Cloak sect's domineering way of doing things, it didn't matter if he was an inner or outer disciple. As long as it was someone from the Iron Cloak sect, they would always be on the opposing side. That was why Tianlong and Ling Shan were heavily injured without even asking for a reason. But what the second senior brother didn't expect was that this Lin, he actually had some skills, but that was nothing. No matter how strong he was, could he be stronger than old Ju? He was the proud disciple of the Iron Cloak Grand Master, a heaven-class late-phase peak. Although he didn't break through as early as the big senior brother and third junior brother, he was still one of the top masters in the sect. Humph, bring me there. Whoever dares to be arrogant here, old Ju, will slap him to death. The second senior brother said arrogantly to Wang. Junior brother Wang heaved a sigh of relief. Although he didn't see Lin Yi's strength clearly, he seemed to be at the early phase of heaven class when he attacked. Hence, he was very relieved. With second senior brother taking action, Lin Yi will be captured easily. And did that Lin Yi come alone? The second senior brother was arrogant, but he wasn't an idiot. He had to ask. Chapter 35-31. Oh, then it's nothing. In his mind, women were not good enough, and the masters were all men. In fact, the Iron Cloak sect was just like that, with more men than women. Second brother walked out of the sect with Wang Shidi arrogantly. He looked at Lin Yi and the woman behind him, and his eyes lit up, revealing a mesmerizing look. Hey, Lin Yi, kill yourself. I'll leave your body intact. Your women leave me. I'll do it for you. Lin Yi looked at the fat guy in front of him, stunned. He was just a sky-class late-phase peak master. Where did he get his courage from? He even asked him to kill himself? Forget it, I won't do it. Rock, Kenny, Sydney, you guys practice with Yun Yun. Lin Yi really had no interest in killing this guy. It was just one move. Okay. Sugar and Snow pair nodded. Although the two of them had conflicts, usually they were both Lin Yi's women at this moment. Tang Yun was also one of them. They had to work together against the outsiders. Because they were both water-type practitioners, they were more suitable to support Tang Yun. Xiao Ning, Xiao, you guys protect Yun Yun too. Lin Yi looked at Yu Ning and Xiao. After all, Tang Yun didn't have enough battle experience. It wouldn't be good if she fell into this guy's trap. Suddenly, Rock, Candy, Shui Li, Xiao Ning, and Xiao surrounded Tang Yun, while Tang Yun locked onto her second senior brother. At first, second brother didn't think much of it, but when he saw Tang Yun's sky-class late-phase peak strength, he was dumbfounded. Why was this woman so strong? However, he wasn't too afraid, since she was just a woman, and he was a famous master. As for Lin Yi, he completely ignored him. To him, Lin Yi was just a normal sky-class master. At most, he was at the early phase. Otherwise, why didn't Lin Yi attack but let the woman behind him do it? That wasn't manly at all. Hence, from his perspective, Tang Yun was the most powerful person here. However, Wang Shidi felt that the situation wasn't looking good. This second brother and Tang Yun's strength were on par, so the chance of winning was only 50-50. If Lin Yi were to secretly cause trouble, then the chance of winning wouldn't be high. Thinking of this, he quickly turned around and ran back. He wanted to report to eldest senior brother, third senior brother, and the Iron Cloak martial ancestor so that they could send reinforcements. After running a few steps, he heard second senior brother scream from behind. Junior brother Wang was shocked and quickened his pace. Was second senior brother about to die? I'm afraid so. However, that person's strength was on par with second senior brother's, yet he was able to kill second senior brother? Tai Yi sect, where old ancestor Tai Yi cultivated. At this moment, his eldest and third disciples were present. Patriarch Ironclad was explaining some cultivation matters to them. Junior brother Wang stumbled in and came in front of the three of them. Junior brother Wang, what are you doing? Didn't you hear Master explaining the principles of cultivation to us? Eldest senior brother glared at junior brother Wang. How can you be so careless? Not good. Master, last time we beat up Lingshan and Feng Tianlong, that Lin Yi they were talking about is here. Second senior brother was killed by Lin Yi. Junior brother, Wang said breathlessly. What? Killed? Old ancestor Tai Yi was flabbergasted. What happened? What level is that Lin Yi? Your second senior brother is a Sky Class late phase peak. How can he be killed just like that? Even if he's not dead, it's still not enough. Master, please send people to help. Junior brother Wang said they have Sky Class late phase peak. There's also a Sky Class late phase peak. Oh, I see, but he won't die so soon. Even if there's a difference between the two, it won't be too big. Even if he's about to reach full cycle, there won't be much of a difference before he breaks through. How about this? Third brother, you go and take care of Lin Yi. Tai Yi nodded and said to third senior brother, you're a full cycle. It'll be easy for you to take care of him. Yes, Master. Third senior brother nodded, picked up his heaven-ranked divine weapon, and followed junior brother Wang. Wait for me, old Shah, to kill him. With that said, third senior brother revealed his peak late stage heaven stage peak strength. However, when Wang junior brother and third senior brother arrived at the entrance, they realized that their second senior brother, she was already dead, lying on the ground, not breathing. At first, third senior brother wanted to show off and talk big, but he couldn't do that now. He raged. Who did this? Tang Yun didn't expect the opponent to be this weak. Her sky full of fog, the 19th form, killed him. This was an accumulating battle experience. It was a one-sided slaughter. Of course, this was also because the Tai Yi sect was too arrogant and thought they were strong, but they had even less battle experience than Tang Yun. Plus, Bing Tang, Shui Li, Xiao Xiao, and Yuning were all protecting Tang Yun, and the four of them revealed their full strength. Just the pressure alone was enough to make him gasp for air. And so when Tang Yun attacked, he didn't even have the courage to fight back before dying. He was really too weak. Tang Yun's weak voice sounded. I didn't expect him to die after just one hit. Humph. Then pay with your life. Third senior apprentice brother said, and immediately revealed the power of a peak late-stage heaven rank expert. Do you think that a peak late-stage heaven rank expert is very powerful? Don't you know that there's a Sky Class late phase peak in this world? Humph. I'll show you what it means to be stronger than you. Yun Yun, step down. You're not his match. Lin Yi glanced at third senior brother's strength and said faintly. But as he spoke, he also revealed his Sky Class late phase peak full circle strength. This made third senior brother pause. Why was there a Sky Class late phase peak here? On the side, junior brother Wang was also startled. Not good. The other side is a peak late stage heaven rank expert and a great circle heaven rank expert. If these two people attack together, then third senior brother will definitely suffer. Thinking up to this point, junior brother Wang turned around and ran again to report the news. Lin Yi, naturally saw Wang Jr. brother going back and forth, but he didn't care. How could he draw the Tai sex masters out if he didn't leave someone behind to report? It would be too troublesome to find them one by one. Chapter 35-32. Junior brother, Wang, once again stumbled into Iron Cloak Patriarch's room, arriving in front of him and eldest senior brother. Junior brother Wang, what are you doing? Where's third junior brother? Why aren't you with him? Eldest senior brother was taken aback, glaring at junior brother Wang again. Third junior brother has already gone to help. Why are you still panicking? Oh no, master, eldest senior brother and third senior brother seem to have been killed by that Lin Yi as well. Junior brother Wang continued to gasp for breath. What? Killed again? Iron Cloak Patriarch was stunned. What's going on? Isn't your third senior brother a heaven perfection expert? Yes, but the other side also has a heaven perfection expert, and it seems like second senior brother is already dead. Even if he's not dead, he'll be in deep trouble. Master, please send someone to help. Junior brother Wang said. Master, I'll go take a look. Eldest senior brother suddenly stood up, scratching his ears and cheeks anxiously, wanting to go help. You're the eldest senior brother of the sect. It's better for Master to go take a look. I've already passed the position to you, so you need to be calm. You can't be impatient every time something happens. You stay here. Master will go get it. Iron Cloak Patriarch stood up and left with junior brother Wang. Arriving in front of the mountain gate, the ironclad founding ancestor turned pale with fright. His second and third disciples were lying on the ground, and he didn't know if they were dead or alive. The rest of the group was still chatting leisurely. Who killed my disciple? Do you dare stand out? Iron Cloak Patriarch roared. You are? Lin Yi stood up and asked. I'm Iron Cloak Patriarch, here to avenge my disciples. Iron Cloak Patriarch glared at Lin Yi. You're that Lin Yi? That's right, I'm Lin Yi, but are you sure you're the only one here for revenge? Can you do it? Lin Yi retorted. Ha! Iron Cloak Patriarch was furious at first, but suddenly remembered that his second and third disciples were dead. He was also a Heaven Realm Great Perfection expert. How could he be a match for the other party? The other side had one at the Great Circle of the Heaven Realm and one at the peak of the late stage. 2 against 1, they could easily suppress him. This caused Ancestor Ironclad's expression to change. Wait a minute, don't make a move. Little Wang, go back and inform your senior apprentice brother to ask for help from the Empyrean ancestors. Let's capture this Lin Yi together. Yes. Junior brother Wang agreed and turned to run. Lin Yi didn't stop him and let him run back. In any case, if 1 came, he would kill 1. If 2 came, he would kill 2. The Heaven Stage Great Perfection experts on his side weren't just for show. They hadn't been used before. You wait for a while. Wait for our men to arrive. Let's have a showdown. Old Ancestor Tai was a little cowardly. He knew he wasn't a match, so he wanted to stall for time. Oh, okay. Lin Yi nodded indifferently. Then let's wait. When the experts of their sect arrived, Lin Yi would kill them all together. Otherwise, killing old Ancestor Tai would scare the others away. Then it would be troublesome for Lin Yi to chase after them one by one. Old Ancestor Tai didn't expect Lin Yi to directly agree. What was going on? Why did this Lin Yi look a little stupid? If it were him, he definitely wouldn't agree. But Lin Yi agreed, just like that. What an idiot! Thinking of this, old Ancestor Tai looked at Lin Yi and subconsciously took 2 steps back. Okay, we'll fight fairly. When my men arrive, we'll fight as a group. Fighting alone isn't heroic. Oh, do as you wish. Then let's fight as a group. Our men will attack together. Lin Yi nodded. Okay, no problem. Old Ancestor Tai snickered. Just a group of women like you. What are you? Want I beat you to a pulp? When that time comes, I'll kill Lin E and kidnap all these pretty girls into Iron Cloak sect. I won't be lonely in the future. After junior brother Wang returned, he stumbled into Iron Cloak Patriarch's room and came to the only remaining eldest senior brother. Junior brother Wang, what are you doing? Where's Master? Why did you come back alone? Grand senior brother saw that junior brother Wang had returned and couldn't help but be surprised. Are you training your body? No. Eldest senior brother, it's bad. Did you know? Third senior brother is dead. Master just went and was detained by that Lin E. Junior brother Wang said. Master told me to come back and report. What? Third junior brother was also killed? Eldest senior brother's eyes widened. Okay, I'll go now. See how I, old ho, kill them. Don't. Eldest senior brother. It's useless even if you go. That Lin E is really powerful. Master wants you to ask for help from the heavenly venerables and patriarchs. Ask them to deal with Lin E together. Junior brother Wang said hurriedly. What? Ask for help from the heavenly venerables and patriarchs? That Lin E is so powerful? Eldest senior brother was stunned. Okay, wait for me here. I'll go ask for help. In Iron Cloak sect, strength did not mean that one could be the sect leader. It was passed down from generation to generation. Otherwise, those heaven stage great perfection experts' lifespans would be extended indefinitely. When would there be a change of sect leader? Iron Cloak sect had a large number of disciples. It was too tiring for one sect leader to sit for too long. Hence, it was passed down from generation to generation. In any case, the old sect leaders were patriarchs or heavenly venerables. They were all heaven stage great perfection experts. For example, Iron Cloak Patriarch's master, Iron Cloak Patriarch, was a powerful figure who had reached heaven stage great perfection long ago. Iron Cloak Patriarch Senior and Junior brothers were also very powerful. Gold Cloak Patriarch, Silver Cloak Patriarch, Copper Cloak Patriarch, and Aluminum Cloak Patriarch were all heaven stage great perfection experts. Of course, the titles of these people were distributed after one of them inherited the position of the sect master. The one who inherited the position of sect master was called Old Ancestor Tai, while the others were called by other names. Tai was not the most powerful person in Tai sect. It was just a title. Eldest senior brother searched for all the experts in Iron Cloak sect. They were Iron Cloak Patriarch, Aluminum Cloak Patriarch, Gold Cloak Patriarch, Silver Cloak Patriarch, Copper Cloak Patriarch, and Aluminum Cloak Patriarch. Including himself, there were a total of 7 heaven stage great perfection experts. No one would have thought that Iron Cloak sect had so many heaven stage great perfection experts. This was not known by other sects and cultivators. If he had known, Lin E wouldn't have spared Iron Cloak Patriarch's life and waited for the others to come. This meant that the other side had 8 heaven stage great perfection experts, while Lin E only had Tian Chan, Meng Yao, Yushu Yuning, Little Nine, Guan Xine, Wang Xinyan, Han Jingjing Bingtang, Xiao Xiao Sydney, and Lin E, 11 heaven stage great perfection, and 1 late phase peak. Chapter 35-33. Grand Senior Brother brought a group of experts from Iron Cloak sect to the mountain gate. Iron Cloak ancestor saw them and laughed. Wahaha! Lin E, you're dead this time. How dare you be so arrogant in our Iron Cloak sect? You're asking for death. Everyone, show your strength and scare this little bastard to death. Hee. Grand Senior Brother took the lead and showed his heaven-class late-phase peak full-circle strength. Following that, the experts behind the Great Senior Brother also started to display their heaven-stage great perfection strength. How is it, Lin E? Did you piss your pants? Iron Cloak Ancestor looked at Lin E proudly. Time to show off activated. Oh, that's right. I'm laughing my pants off. Only 8. Lin E laughed. What do you mean? Are you scared out of your wits? In Iron Cloak Ancestor's mind, Lin E should be pissing his pants. Why was he acting like nothing happened? That didn't make sense. Oh, everyone, let's show them your strength. Scare this old thing to death. Lin E said to everyone present. Okay, I'll scare you to death, Yushu said, and revealed her heaven-class full-circle strength. As for the others, although they found the comparison between Lin E and Iron Cloak Ancestor funny, they still cooperated and revealed their strength. Iron Cloak Ancestor was dumbfounded. He looked at Lin Yi's group in disbelief, his legs turning to jelly. 11 heaven-class full circle? Little One, come out and show them. Lin Yi waved his hand, and Little One appeared in the group. 12 heaven-class full circle masters. Iron Cloak Ancestor only felt his eyes blur. Another heaven-class full circle master appeared. He was almost scared to death. Previously, 12 to 8 was already not enough, but now it was 13 to 8. Wasn't this a one-sided suppression? He subconsciously took 2 steps back. Well, young hero Lin, this is a misunderstanding. We're actually here to welcome you. Welcome us? You make it sound so nice. Didn't you want to gang up on me? Lin E said indifferently. That's just a joke. It's not real. Forefather Tai E was already scared before the battle even started. They weren't on the same level at all. Oh, but I'm not. Everyone, let's attack together. The gang fight has begun. Lin E didn't want to leave any trouble before leaving Heaven Stage Island. If it was before, Lin E might have spared their lives. Let them be his lackeys or something. However, with the face of the Iron Cloth sect, even a follower would not be too loyal. They were simply too self-righteous. Therefore, Lin E would not let this hidden danger stay. After he finished speaking, he directly sent out a palm strike, the 20th style of Frenzy Fist that he had been accumulating for a long time, and with the boost from the Essence Chi necklace, it was enough to kill Tai E Ancestor. The 20th form of the Frenzy Fist was equivalent to the 21st form of a normal martial skill. With the addition of the profound Chi necklace, it would be hard for Tai E Ancestor not to die. Bang! Tai E Ancestor was killed by Lin E without even realizing it. Let's go. Everyone, let's kill this brat together. Elda's senior brother was anxious, and with a roar, he rushed forward. Since negotiation was useless, then let's fight. They couldn't escape anyway. 2 against 1. Lin E said indifferently, if these inheritors were to fight one-on-one, they might lose due to lack of experience. But 2 against 1, the Iron Cloth sect was completely no match for them. The inheritors were also the best among the Heaven Stage Great Perfection experts, and their strength was not inferior to Little One's. Wasn't beating these people from the Iron Cloth sect a piece of cake? Boom, boom, boom. Martial skills were activated continuously, and the light illuminated tens of thousands of miles. The experts from the Iron Cloth sect, one by one, they fell to the ground, and it was as miserable as it could be. It was a completely one-sided attack. Originally, Heaven Stage Great Perfection experts were rare, and each of them was an existence that could dominate a region. But in front of Lin Yi's team, they were completely useless. They all died one by one, and did not even have a chance to make a comeback. The last one to die was the Iron Cloth Heavenly Lord, and Lin Yi personally sent him on his way. At this point, the Iron Cloth sect could be considered to have been annihilated. Without the support and protection of these top experts, the remaining disciples could not pose any threat at all. The once prominent Iron Cloth sect had directly become an ordinary sect that could not even be compared to the ancient level. These cultivators could not cause any trouble at all, and Lin Yi did not have the thought of finding trouble with them anymore. Now, what Lin Yi wanted was to hurry back to the West Star Mountain Village and then open the next stone door, to see what good things were behind the stone door, and not waste time here in the iron cloth sect. Patriarch Xianxian said to let everyone rest, and then he would gather everyone. Lin Yi did not know when he would gather everyone. What if time was tight, and Lin Yi could not open the stone door in time? One had to know that the Heaven Stage Island plan would not wait for Lin Yi alone. If Lin Yi did not go, Patriarch Xianxian would be even happier. So it was better for Lin Yi to hurry up, although Lin Yi's current team was enough to challenge Xianxian. If Xianxian were to push him too far, he'd be forced to go back on his word and not open the island. Lin Yi wouldn't be able to do anything about it. He didn't know how to get to the island, even if he had an inheritor by his side. Without a person like Patriarch Xianxian who understood, everything was illusory. Therefore, after destroying the Iron Cloth sect, Lin Yi returned with the women. What made Lin Yi regret was that Tang Yun did not break through in the battle. Of course, Lin Yi was afraid of problems, so he did not dare to let her fight alone. After all, the opponents were masters of the great perfection. But Tang Yun was not. If she fought alone and something went wrong, then Lin Yi would really regret it. Thinking of this, Lin Yi glanced at Sydney on the side and said, "Sydney, Tang Yun did not break through. What should we do next?" "Rock Candy and I can go in her place, but I am afraid that there will be problems." Sydney did not hide it now and said directly, "Call her Sister Rock Candy." Rock Candy interrupted. "I'll assist Sister Rock Candy. In fact, I can barely replace the inheritor of the mist element. After all, everyone's origin is the water element." Shueli said, "It's possible, but no one can tell if it'll work or not." Lin Yi, I suddenly realized that I seemed to have touched the opportunity to break through. Tang Yun suddenly said, and Lin Yi and Sydney were both surprised. "Is the battle effective?" "No, the battle has no effect, but it seems that because I am in a good mood," Tang Yun said with a blush. Chapter 35-34. "Stop it. It's not like that." Tang Yun rolled her eyes at Lin Yi. "Why are you still so violent? When I first met you, you were always fighting and killing. I was worried about you." We're all cultivators. Fighting and killing is normal, right?" Lin Yi was a bit embarrassed. He thought about the past and smiled warmly. "Oh, right, what kind of feeling are you talking about?" I knew that Sydney Sis and Lin Yi were together, so I was relieved. I thought that you wouldn't stop me and Lin Yi from being together. Then I suddenly found a hint of breakthrough. Tang Yun said, "Huh? That's so strange." Shueli was stunned. "Tang Yun Sis, you have to call her Sydney Sis. Don't call her Sydney Sis." Bing Tang said, "Then you have to call her Sis." "Why are you calling her Sis?" Sydney stared at Bing Tang. "I am her cousin. Are you?" Bing Tang said proudly, I am her senior sister." Sydney said, "Senior sister is useless. I have to call her Xiao Xiao Sis." Bing Tang said, "Humph, what's the big deal? You don't have to tell me." Sydney said, "Tang Yun Sis, did you really find the opportunity to break through?" "Yes, but it was just a feeling for a moment. It seems that the aura around me is not enough for me to break through. If I can go to a place with dense aura, I think I can break through," Tang Yun said. "Or, if I go back to the Five Evils wilderness, I might be able to break through under the pressure." "I see." Lin Yi frowned and said, "It's not easy to find a place with dense aura. Can we go back to the Five Evils wilderness?" Lin Yi said and looked at Tian Chan, who was not far away. "It can't. That portal can only be used once in a period of time. If we want to use it again, we will have to wait for a long time," Tian Chan said. "I don't know how long it will take. What about the portal for the test?" Lin Yi was a little disappointed. He nodded and continued to ask, "If they used the portal from the previous trial, although it was far from the Five Evils Mountains with the pressure of the ghost, it shouldn't be dangerous." "It can be activated once a year," Tian Chan said. 1 year, It's too late. Lin Yi was helpless. If Tang Yun could enter the space in the jade, it would be great. That was the place with the purest energy, but Tang Yun couldn't enter it. She was the only one who could enter. I'll take it one step at a time. Maybe I'll break through on the way. Let's look for the reason from Yun Yin's current situation. Why is it that when she's in a good mood, she senses an opportunity to break through? Master Snow really missed Zhang Lijuyun. Grand Master Snow had always been thinking about Zhang Liju, and that was why she was able to perfect heartless arts. And Yin Yun felt the opportunity to break through, because she let go of the shackles in her heart. Although Sydney didn't want to believe it, the facts were right in front of her, so she had to believe it. Heartless yet loving. Lin Yi agreed. That should be the case. If Tang Yun let go of the pressure in her heart, she would have broken through a long time ago. It's all my fault, Sydney said apologetically. It's not your fault, Sister Shui. Sister, this is also the rule of our Snow Valley. Tang Yun shook her head. I'll try my best. Let's go back. Don't delay our business. All right, since everyone in the car is on the same side, let's all make a trip back to Star West Village. We'll be able to meet our old man. Lin Yi didn't hesitate and drove straight to Star West Village. They'd all move together. Shield Bro, when did you get Tian Chan? She's one of us? Yushu noticed the problem in Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi was stunned while Tian Chan blushed. Only then did Lin Yi realize the problem in his tone. He had unconsciously included Tian Chan. But as soon as Lin Yi opened his mouth, Tian Chan was unwilling. Don't say it, or I'll kick you. Tian Chan was embarrassed and glared at Lin Yi. Tell me. Little Shu loved listening to stories. Hey, Tian Chan, if you want to be Lil, Shu said to Tian Chan. Tian Chan remembered that there were a lot of Lin Yi's wives here. She was alone and could only lower her head helplessly. All right, Shield Bro, hurry up and tell us. Little Shu called. It was during the Sky Elixir Sect's trial. We didn't know that she was the young master of the Sky Elixir Sect. We escaped from the Five Demons mountain range where the Five Demons dragon was, Lin Yi said, and told everyone about his encounter with Tian Chan. There was nothing to hide. It was normal for two people to have feelings for each other in that kind of environment. Oh, so Shield Bro knows the Dragon of Five Fiends from the start. I was wondering why it seemed to listen to Shield Bro a lot. Kong Xiaoming and Zhong Pingliang, those two idiots, they're screwed over. Yushu burst into laughter. Lin Yi didn't dare drive the car into West Star Village. That would be too shocking. Bringing so many pretty girls home would make him look like a tourist group. Wouldn't he? Wouldn't people think of him as a monster then? Lin Yi could only park the car in the nearest town to Star West Village. He found a hotel and asked Air Gooden to bring old Lin over. The girls were very excited to meet the legendary grandfather of old Lin Yi. They all asked Meng Yao, Yushu, and Tang Yun for advice, but old Lin was very friendly. He came here as if he had expected this scene. He just smiled and chatted with everyone. Lin Yi looked at this happy and harmonious scene and let out a breath of relief. He asked Air Gooden, Yuan, and old Lin to stay here. Lin Yi told everyone that he had something to do and left. This was the fourth time Lin Yi opened the stone door. He was very excited. Lin Yi stood in front of the Xianyuan cave and felt very emotional. But it wasn't night yet. The stone door couldn't be opened before nightfall. Lin Yi tried, and the stone door didn't open, so he gave up. Chapter 35. It was still early, so Lin Yi calmed himself down and waited for the night to fall. He was already a Heaven Realm full circle expert, so he didn't need to cultivate anymore. His current bottleneck was the way of heaven, but it wasn't that easy to break through. He might not even be able to successfully break through on Heaven Realm Island. let alone in the secular world. Therefore, Lin Yi didn't try to do useless things but rested quietly. Night fell slowly. Lin Yi stood up slowly and walked towards the cave. He stopped in front of the stone door in front of the cave, then slowly placed his hand on the stone door and began to circulate the art of dragon mastery. With previous experiences, this step could be said to be a walk in the park for Lin Yi. After the stone door recognized him as its master, it slowly rose, and the familiar first floor of the Xianyuan cave was revealed in front of Lin Yi's eyes. The scene behind the stone door was similar to the last time Lin Yi came. Lin Yi didn't stay for long, and directly walked to the second stone door at the back of the hall. Just like last time, he circulated the mantra, and the second stone door slowly opened. The third stone door was also the most important stone door. Lin Yi walked over and stopped in front of the stone door. The third stone door was the same as the second stone door. After circulating the mantra, it slowly opened. Lin Yi walked in, and without looking at the scene behind the stone door, he directly came in front of the fourth stone door, which was also the most important stone door. Lin Yi walked over and stopped in front of the stone door. In front of the stone door, there was also a stone tablet standing on the side of the door, with a sentence carved in seal script: "Third stage full circle, weapon in hand. Hit the door with a weapon to enter." The third stage full circle referred to the third stage full circle of the art of dragon mastery. Lin Yi took out the heaven realm magical staff that he had forged before, and then took a deep breath. He circulated the mantra, and this time Lin Yi circulated the mantra at full speed, without holding back, and directly released the third stage of the art of dragon mastery. At the same time, he infused true qi into the heaven realm magical staff, and suddenly smashed it towards the stone door. Boom! The strength of the heaven realm full circle, coupled with the full circulation of the mantra, smashed towards the stone door with all his true qi, making a loud bang. Lin Yi was just about to raise his hand. He put away his sky-class staff, but what he didn't expect was that his staff seemed to be stuck to the stone door, and he couldn't pick it up. Lin Yi paused, but he remembered his previous experience. His hand was stuck on the stone door, and he couldn't move it away. Perhaps this was the stone door's test as well. Lin Yi took a deep breath and let the magic staff stick onto the stone door. What happened next was within Lin Yi's expectations. At this time, there was no need for Lin Yi to take the initiative to circulate his mental cultivation method. The mental cultivation method began to circulate passively, and Lin Yi's physical strength and true qi slowly flowed into the stone door through his staff. However, with past experience, Lin Yi did not panic at all this time. Every time, it was more or less the same. So he calmly faced everything in front of him. As time passed, the amount of true qi in Lin Yi's body decreased, and finally, all of it entered the stone door. Then, the energy that entered the stone door flowed back into Lin Yi's body. Unsurprisingly, the energy this time was pure qi. Just like last time, it was purer than before. The stone door, once again, helped Lin Yi complete the filtration. Then, the energy flowed back into the stone door. And just like that, it flowed back and forth 4 times. Finally, the fourth stone door suddenly issued a loud rumble, and the energy flow between Lin Yi and the stone door stopped, and the stone door began to rise slowly. Phew! Lin Yi let out a long breath. It seemed that the fourth stone door was opened in the same way as the previous 2 stone doors. The stone door opened, and Lin Yi did not dare to delay. He had to leave the cave before dawn, or else he would be locked inside. Of course, he could leave the next day. At most, it would be a matter of waiting for 1 more day. However, Lin Yi's time was quite tight. The 5 Elements sect might summon the challengers back for the heaven rank meeting at any time. So Lin Yi had to hurry. Just like behind the 3rd stone door, there was a very simple small room. There was still no light source in the room, but it was still as bright as day. There was still a small platform in front of the stone room, and on top of the platform, there was still an antique small box. Apart from that, there was nothing else inside. Seeing this, Lin Yi was neither happy nor disappointed. Apart from the box, there was nothing else here. This was also within his expectations, but he always hoped to encounter something unexpected, but there was nothing. Every time he encountered a small box, Lin Yi was already used to it. Walking forward, Lin Yi stretched out his hand and took the antique small box. The small box was light, and it was almost the same as before. It seemed that there should be a cultivation method or a casting method inside. After putting away the small box, Lin Yi raised his head and looked around the stone room behind the fourth stone door. Lin Yi wanted to see if there was a so-called fifth stone door, but to Lin Yi's disappointment, this should be the last stone door. Because there was no fifth stone door in the stone room, it was empty and smooth stone walls. It seemed that there was no way out. His path in the secular world was almost finished. If there was no accident, this would be the last time Lin Yi came to the Xianyuan cave mansion. There would probably be no more fortuitous encounters in the future. What would there be on the Heaven Stage Island? However, Lin Yi didn't think that the Xianyuan cave mansion would still exist. After all, the Xianyuan cave mansion here was probably related to old Lin. Who else could he rely on the Heaven Stage Island? He could only rely on his own hands. Jiao Lao, this is the last stone room. Your memory should have been unlocked, right? What's the next step like? Lin Yi took a deep breath and asked Jiao Yazi. Yes, this is the last stone door. There is no more. As for my memory, I just remembered. It is actually limited. The days that I can accompany you should not be much longer, because my mission has been completed. Jiao Yazi said word by word. What? Mission completed? You haven't said anything yet? Who are you? Where did you come from? This stone door is gone. Where should I go in the future? Lin Yi's questions came one after another. Chapter 35-36. However, I only have a small portion of the original body's memories. The rest of the memories haven't been solidified, so I don't know. Jiao Yazi said, if you really want to ask, then I can only say that I'm afraid. I'll only appear again when you reach a certain level. Appear again? Lin Yi paused. You're leaving? Not leaving. It's hard to explain. You'll know when the time comes, Jiao Yazi said. All right. Lin Yi knew Jiao Yazi's speciality. If he didn't say something, you wouldn't be able to get it out no matter how you asked. And he probably didn't even know himself. Then what's in the box? It's nothing, won't you know when you go back? Why ask me? Jiao Yazi smiled. Now, you basically know everything I know. My mission is complete. All right. Lin Yi sighed and left the cave. There was still some time before daybreak, so Lin Yi sat cross-legged at the entrance of the cave, waiting for the sun to rise. It wasn't until the stone door was completely closed that Lin Yi stood up and left, returning to the inn. Although there wasn't much left in the Xianyuan cave, it was a memory for Lin Yi, and Lin Yi didn't want others to find it or destroy it. So, Lin Yi waited until the stone door was completely closed before leaving. After returning to the inn, it was time for Lin Yi to leave as well. He said goodbye to old Lin, and this time he might be gone for a few months or maybe a few years. It all depended on whether things went smoothly on Heaven Stage Island. However, old Lin was still very supportive of him going to Heaven Stage Island. Lin Yi told him his decision, and old Lin only nodded with a smile. Very well, in the common world, you don't have anyone to rely on. You relied on your own strength to survive until now, and on Heaven Stage Island, you can also rely on your own strength to make a name for yourself. Lin Yi didn't mention Zhang Liju from Sky Class Island. He could be considered his backer, but whether or not he could meet Zhang Liju at the beginning, whether or not he had the right to meet him at his level was unknown. Perhaps this backer would only be useful after he reached a certain level, right? In the past, he probably had to rely on himself. What Lin did not know was, it was the same for him in the secular world. When he reached a certain level in the later stage, Lin Dong helped him deal with the unexpected factor of the blood-clothed underworld sect. At other times, he still relied on himself. He brought the girls back to Yanjing City. Lin Yi didn't stay in Donghai any longer and went to find Tianlong and Lingshan. He wanted to cure them and then gather all his followers in the common world for a meeting to discuss and arrange everything after he left, curing Tianlong and Lingshan and raising their strength to Sky Class late phase peak wasn't hard for Lin Yi. At first, Lin Yi was worried about the materials for the Qi-gathering pill, but now that he had Tian Chan, the young master of the Sky Elixir sect, he had all the materials. As for the rest of Lin Yi's followers who weren't going to Sky Class Island, they were all gathered together by Lin Yi. Even Dafeng Bro and Kun Siyuan were called over by Lin Yi. Lin Yi had to let these followers get to know each other, and then they could help each other and unite against the common enemy. Some of these followers knew each other, but some weren't familiar with each other. But with Lin Yi, the soul of the group, these people were able to gather together easily. Lin Yi also said that he might be gone for a few months or years, and he wanted these people to unite and not cause trouble. But they didn't need to be afraid of trouble, and they would all be under Lingshan's control and deployment. Naturally, these people wouldn't say anything about it. They all agreed wholeheartedly. In their eyes, Lin Yi was a godlike existence, raising their strength to Earth-class late phase peak and giving them so many Qi-gathering pills for them to use. It was simply too amazing. Kong Xiaobo and Fatty Lai came as well. He knew that it wasn't much use to raise their strength, but he did it anyway, including Zhouruoming. Lin Yi gave him Zhouruoming, but he didn't give him anything higher. He didn't need that much strength at his level anyway. After that, Lin Yi said goodbye to Sun Jingyi, Yang Qiqi, Su Shirhan, Cheng Yi, and Ning Ziyu. But Lin Yi suddenly remembered Chen Shi and turned to Tian Chan. Tian Chan, where's Chen Shi? She's doing great. Tian Dai's taking care of her. She's called Tian Shi now, and I'm going to bring them with me to Sky Class Island, Tian Chan said. Ugh, who's Tian Dai? And Chen Shi, she's already a perfected master? Lin Yi was shocked. How long had it been since Chen Shi left? She's already Earth Class mid-phase after eating small Qi gathering pills, but don't you have a bunch of them? I'll bring some back, and I'll be perfected, right? Tian Chan said casually. As for Tian Dai, she's the one who went to your house to save you. She's my personal maid. I see. Lin Yi was speechless. With everything settled, it was time for Lin Yi to return to Five Elements Sexin. They hadn't gathered everyone yet, but it was good for Lin Yi to go back and wait. As for Tang Yun's matter, Lin Yi had found a way, but he hadn't told them yet. First of all, it involved Lin Yi's biggest secret, the Jade Space. Second, Lin Yi wasn't ready yet, and it was too early to say it. From behind the fourth stone door, Lin Yi took out a small box. There were 2 scrolls inside. One was the 4th stage of the art of dragon mastery, but it said that it could only be practiced when breaking through to Sky Dao or above. When breaking through to Sky Dao, it could be used as a support. Practicing it below Sky Dao would be useless, and the best-case scenario would be to go mad, and the worst-case scenario would be death by explosion. This art of dragon mastery also had a cool name, Duo Tian. Of course, Lin Yi wasn't stupid enough to try it. Although he could practice it when breaking through to Sky Dao, when would he be considered to have broken through to Sky Dao? Was it when he took the heavenly golden pill, or... All of this was unknown, and Lin Yi didn't dare to try it. If he went mad at this time, he'd be screwed. So, Lin Yi decided to find a chance to ask Zhao Lao. These days of continuous work, Lin Yi didn't even have the chance to enter the Jade Space to chat. Chapter 35-37. This time, after the condensation of the Jade Pendant, other people could enter the space of the jade pendant, not just Lin Yi himself. Of course, it was the soul that entered, not the body. However, there was a prerequisite, and that was only those who were incomparably loyal to Lin Yi and had no bad intentions could enter. Even if they had bad intentions, they couldn't enter the space of the jade pendant, and this wasn't Lin Yi's judgment, but the judgment of the space of the jade pendant automatically. After all, it was only the soul that entered the space of the jade pendant. If there were any bad intentions, it was very likely to turn the tables. As for the specifics, Lin Yi wasn't too sure because the condensation instructions didn't explain. It only said that those who weren't absolutely loyal couldn't enter the space of the jade pendant. However, in Lin Yi's eyes, Tang Yun didn't have any problems because Tang Yun's feelings for Lin Yi were extremely deep. In order to let Lin Yi not suffer, she would rather suffer herself. Wasn't this kind of person loyal enough? She could definitely pass the test of the space of the jade pendant, right? As long as Tang Yun could enter the space of the jade pendant to cultivate, then breaking through to the peak would probably be a matter of minutes. After all, she had already touched the bottleneck. As for the energy stones, Lin Yi also thought about it and also gave Tang Yun a test, but the effect was very little. After all, Tang Yun's arts were different from Wang Xinyan and Zhang Naipeo. They could actively absorb unlimited energy, but Tang Yun could only absorb it passively. The energy stones could definitely provide more energy than the current energy of heaven and earth, but it definitely wouldn't be too much. It definitely wasn't enough for her to break through to the peak. So, only the space of the jade pendant was omnipotent. Lin Yi brought the girls back to the yin of the five-element sect, and Lin Yi began to refine the space of the jade pendant. At the same time, in the room of the Xianqian ancestor of the five-element sect, sat a handsome man with long hair and a very warm appearance. It gave people a feeling of sunshine, but this person's eyes were faintly gloomy. It made people feel awe at first glance and not look down on him because of his appearance. Chancellor Nantian, I have already prepared for the Sky class meeting according to your orders. At this moment, the Xianqian ancestor was actually kneeling on one knee. If anyone was present, they would definitely be shocked. Ancestor Xianqian, the high and mighty acting sect master of the five-element sect, actually treated the person in front of him like this. The five-element sect was the initiator, organizer, and executor of the Heaven Stage Island plan. Therefore, it was known as the number one sect in the ancient times. This was a rather awesome existence. All the ancient sects that wanted to advance to the heavenly Tao were extremely respectful to Patriarch Xianqian. However, Patriarch Xianqian was as careful as a servant. Yes, since I came here, Island Master has asked me to be in charge of guiding the disciples of each island. The man in the ancient robe nodded and said, Xianqian, you have done well. When the time comes, you will follow me. Become my subordinate. Thank you, Chancellor South Heaven, for your guidance. Patriarch Black Earth was overjoyed. This Chancellor Nantian was obviously an important figure on the heavenly stage island. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to contact him in the secular world as a guiding mentor. Patriarch Xianqian was worried that he would not have anyone to rely on when he reached Heaven Stage Island. If the others were all stronger than him, he would be screwed. In the end, the South Heaven Chancellor delivered himself to his doorstep. This was a great opportunity for him. Yes, you just have to do your job well. I need a few vicious and intelligent subordinates. Chancellor Nantian chuckled and said in an indifferent tone, Oh, right, South Heaven Chancellor. Speaking of vicious, my disciple is also a dragon among dragons. Do you think he can learn from you? Patriarch Xianqian quickly recommended Kong Ming to South Heaven Chancellor. This won't do. I can only take you with me, and that's already my limit. As for where the newcomers go, the teleportation array will automatically allocate them. I have no right to interfere. This is the rule of Heaven Stage Island. Even I can't interfere. South Heaven Chancellor said. I see. Patriarch Xianqian was a little disappointed. It seemed that Kong Ming Ming could only rely on himself. Yes, the Heaven Stage Island plan is going well, right? Because newcomers from the secular world to Heaven Stage Island only appear once every 1,000 years. Our island master also places great importance on this. Back then, Heaven Stage Island's newcomer, Master Zhang Liju, walked up from your secular world's 5 elements sect. Now, he is already a proud figure on the 5 islands. Even the island master is respectful to him. I hope that this time, your secular world can also produce such a figure. Don't let our island master down. South Heaven Chancellor said. Haha, I think Kong Ming Ming has this potential. Master Zhang Liju is an elixir refiner, and so is Zhao Ming. His potential is limitless. I think he can satisfy the island master. Oh, Zhao Ming is that disciple of mine. Patriarch Xianqian quickly explained. Oh, is that so? That's not bad. But is this the only elixir refiner that came from the secular world? South Heaven Chancellor asked. Of course not. My senior brother has another disciple called Tian Chan. She is also an elixir refiner, but she isn't very strong. Her brother is better at alchemy, but her brother will definitely go to Heaven Stage Island. There are 2 other freelancers, a man and a woman, but they are just a couple, Patriarch Xianqian said. Couple? What do you mean? South Heaven Chancellor asked. He's just a pretentious rogue cultivator. He thinks he's so awesome and pretentious all the time. That woman is his woman. Patriarch Xianqian said. Right, South Heaven Chancellor, we have to be careful of that kid when we go to Heaven Stage Island. Not only does that kid show off, but he also has strength. He is our archenemy. I'm afraid that he will continue to go against us when he gets to Heaven Stage Island. He still dares to go against us when he gets to Heaven Stage Island? South Heaven Chancellor laughed proudly. Ha ha! This is the funniest joke I've ever heard. If he dares to stab us, I'll slap him into the sea. Oh, right. I forgot. That Lin might be showing off in the secular world, but when he gets to Heaven Stage Island, he's nothing. Patriarch Xianqian said, flatteringly, Don't worry, when we get to Heaven Stage Island, you will definitely be awesome if you follow me. South Heaven Chancellor said proudly. Thank you, South Heaven Chancellor. Patriarch Xianqian was relieved after hearing that. From Chancellor Nanshan's words, he should be doing very well on Heaven Stage Island. And then hold the Heaven Stage meeting. Those inheritors don't have to attend. When the time comes, they will gather together, and I'll tell them what to pay attention to, South Heaven Chancellor said faintly. Chapter 35-38. Chancellor Nan Tian made a throat-slitting gesture. You'll know when the time comes. Okay. The Xianqian ancestor was startled. What did this mean? Death? However, Chancellor Nan Tian didn't say much, and he didn't dare to ask. But this was better. He had planned to target Lin Yi at the Sky class meeting, announcing a piece of bad news for Lin Yi. Although this news could hurt Lin Yi, he was afraid that Lin Yi would retaliate. After all, those inheritors were with Lin Yi. It was okay to force them, but if they were angry and joined forces with Lin Yi, it wouldn't be fun. But now, those inheritors weren't participating in the meeting. Lin Yi was really alone. None of the participants would support Lin Yi. They were only doing it for their own benefit, especially with Pin Liang and Nai Peo leading the way. They definitely wouldn't dare to not support his decision. After all, Pin Liang and Nai Peo weren't there for nothing. They would kill anyone who didn't agree. These two were existences that even the Xianqian ancestor had a headache with. He'd be in danger if Pin Liang's aura made him lose his footing and allowed Nai Peo to use his wasp absorption arts on him. And so, this was the reason why Nai Peo expressed his goodwill to the everyday an everyday sect as soon as he recovered. Okay, go make the announcement and let the participants come back. Prepare to land on Sky-class island, Chancellor Nantion said. Yes, the Xiantian ancestor said quickly. Okay, then I'll go rest first, Chancellor Nantion said. Okay, please, the Xiantian ancestor said. After that, Chancellor Nantion directly went through the wall in front of the Xiantian ancestor. With a whoosh, he disappeared in an instant. However, the Xiantian ancestor seemed to be used to it and didn't show any surprise at all. The method of making the jade was similar to the last time. But now, whatever materials Lin Yi wanted, the sect of the inheritors could help him find, especially the Sky Elixir sect that Tian-chan was in. They had everything. So, materials weren't a problem, and Lin Yi had successfully condensed a Sky-class weapon. So, upgrading the jade space was a piece of cake. In just one night, Lin Yi successfully condensed it, and Lin Yi called Tang Yun to his room. Lin Yi, why did you call me so early in the morning? Ever since Tang Yun discovered that her arts were emotional, she didn't have as much of a taboo with Lin Yi. She didn't want to interfere anymore. I called you to sleep, Lin Yi said. Sleep? Tang Yun asked. What? Sleep with me, now, Lin Yi said. Ah. Tang Yun's eyes went wide. As she blushed, what are you talking about? You, Tang said. You? Tang, you can? You can break through by sleeping with me, Lin Yi smiled. I broke through just by sleeping with you? Tang Yun was stunned. How is that possible? I can break through by sleeping with you? Tang Yun was stunned. How is that possible? Lin Yi prepared to tell Tang Yun about the jade space. After all, Tang Yun wasn't an outsider. She was his first real girlfriend, and Tang Yun was going to enter the jade space as well. I don't know. Don't you have energy stones and Wang Xinyan? Tang Yun was confused. Wang Xinyan is in the late stage. I'm talking about the early stage, Lin Yi said. I relied on a jade space in the early stage. Wang Xinyan is late stage. I'm talking about early stage. Lin Yi said, I rely on the jade space in the early stage. It's a place where I usually practice. You and I can enter when you fall asleep, Lin Yi said. But you have to be with me first. You have to hold my hand and get close to me. It's a place I usually train in. You can come in when you fall asleep, Lin Yi said, but you have to be with me first. Hold my hand and get close to me, Lin Yi said. But first, you have to hold my hand and get close to me. It wasn't that Lin Yi was trying to take advantage of Tang Yun. It was the truth. The jade space could let others enter with both hands. Of course, this was only the first time. After the jade space recognized the owner, Tang Yun would be able to enter on her own. As long as she was within Lin Yi's range, she could send a signal to Lin Yi. After Lin Yi agreed, Tang Yun could enter the jade space on her own. The first time, she would rely on the jade to judge if the person was loyal to Lin Yi. The second time, she would rely on Lin Yi to judge. The jade wouldn't be able to stop her. Oh, really? Tang Yun felt like she was listening to a book from heaven. She was confused by Lin Yi's words. Try it, and you'll know. Lin Yi nodded. Tang Yun lied down beside Lin Yi. If it wasn't for her absolute trust in Lin Yi, and the fact that Lin Yi wouldn't use this method to trick her into bed, Tang Yun would really think that Lin Yi was plotting something against her. Tang Yun lay beside Lin Yi and held Lin Yi's hand. Her breathing became erratic. This was the scene she had dreamed of, lying together with Lin Yi and whispering to each other. It seemed so distant to her before, but now it felt so real. Are you asleep? Lin Yi asked. Yup, no. Tang Yun shook her head. How could she fall asleep? She was too excited. That won't do. If you don't sleep, you can't enter the jade space. Lin Yi said helplessly. Yup, I'll try my best. Tang Yun closed her eyes. Okay. Lin Yi nodded. Finally, after half an hour, Tang Yun fell asleep. Lin Yi saw Tang Yun in the jade space. Tang Yun needed to sleep, but Lin Yi didn't need to. He could enter the jade space directly. Where is this? Tang Yun, who just entered the jade space, was scared. It was dark inside, and there was nothing around. She couldn't see the end of it. Tang Yun couldn't see the jade space that Lin Yi used for storage. Who are you? Tang Yun saw Jiao Yazi and took 2 steps back in shock. I'm the one who told Lin Yi to save you after you were drugged by Zhong Pingliang, Jiao Yazi said proudly. Oh, it's you? Tang Yun nodded. You're such a busybody. Jiao Yazi was stunned. He was waiting for Tang Yun to thank him. He didn't expect that she would say, you're a busybody. This made Jiao Yazi mad and speechless. Ha! Lin Yi entered the jade space and heard the conversation between Tang Yun and Jiao Yazi. He couldn't help but laugh. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.